Please rise and remove your hat if you can. Let us pray. Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this meeting. We thank you for the information that we'll gain from it and that we can take that information and make sound decisions. And not only just the commissioners and people that are up here, but the people that are here listening, Father, so we all learn more and that we can make good decisions. We also ask you to bless them, each and every one of them, and safeguard them back home tonight. In Jesus' name we do pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We want to thank everybody for being here tonight. Commissioners Court and myself could take this very serious, and we want you all to know that we take it very serious. Seeing so many members of our community here tells us one thing, that you have a passion for what's going on. And we want you to know that this meeting tonight is to show you what's currently going on in the county and what you need to see that's happening and possibly what could happen in the future. There'll be guidelines that we have to follow through and stay behind. I also want to recognize the Commissioners Court, Commissioner Gillespie, Commissioner Bowen, Commissioner Bovelic, and Commissioner Eustace. One of the most responsibilities we have is taking this to heart and to doing the right thing. So just to let you know, I was presented with a petition earlier this week, or yesterday, I guess it was, and it looks like it's 1.62 of the registered voters in the county, the number of the petition. It doesn't mean anything because there's nothing we can do in the action that was asked. Tonight, there's another opportunity to come together, it's just to learn and listen and take care of the topic that we have out there, the elephant in the room. There's a variety of perspectives that come out of tonight's meeting. There'll be questions and answers. Our presentation shouldn't take more than 20 minutes or so, and then you'll be able to come up to the podium and ask questions or make a statement for 3 minutes, and we'll revolve after that. We appreciate everyone coming together and understanding with that. So at this time, I'm going to introduce our panel, who is available here for us to meet with and ask questions of, and they are in no specific order. And if you'll please stand whenever I call your name. Find it here. Okay, we have Senator Pete Flores, Representative Don McLaughlin, Francis Mareka with TxDOT, and Clayton Riggs. I want to tell y'all something. Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, TCEQ, throw them under the bus. I've called them, I've begged them, I asked them to show up. They will not come. They will not be here for anything. And I'm going to give you numbers, and I want you to call them because that's disrespectful to us. And I want y'all two to know that because that's totally wrong. They're bureaucrats, and they should be here to handle the questions asked of them. When I ask questions, she didn't want to answer me, and I'm done with that. So I'm not through either. So Water and Utilities Infrastructure, Dr. Aaron Teague and Wes Shahan and Amanda Wheeler. These with Evergreen. Leroy Goodson and Bonnie Saley with Benton City Water Supply. Dale Fowler with AEP, American Electric Power. Eric Halfman with General Electric Carnes Electric, sorry. Local and regional partners, Brandy Royal with the Appraisal District. David Emery with the Lytle City Council. Okay, do I have anybody else? I got everybody? All right, so now we're going to move forward and look at the slides. Tonight, we just ask you to be respectful. We're gonna treat everybody with respect, and we want everybody to follow the same rules. Over the past several weeks, we've had questions coming forward to us and asking questions about data centers. There's been accusations that I apologize for my nose running, people. There's been accusations for us have meeting behind closed doors and meeting with people and doing things about data centers. I'm going to tell you, there's probably 9 or 10 data centers that have been through my door. And they're not hiding nothing. They're not asking for anything. I specifically asked them, what are you asking for? So, well, nothing. No tax abatements, no pilot programs. Nope. Okay. Nothing we can do about that if they don't want them. At that point, they tell me the area they're looking at, and there's nothing we can do. That's a private exchange. So at that point, it's private property rights in between two different people. There's nothing we can do about that. And you need to know that. I've been accused, and these commissioners have been accused of doing things behind the scenes behind closed doors. Nothing like that's happened. Sometimes there's two commissioners in a meeting with people. Sometimes it's me and a commissioner in a meeting with people. It is not a quorum. Sometimes it has to happen like that to meet people. We don't work in a city form of government. City government has a city manager and staff. We don't have that. That's not the way county government works. So we have to meet with them and do our job. And we have our own staff that works with things, but they can't answer questions sometimes. So now we're going to go ahead, Justin. And we're going to go to tonight's meeting. We'll share factual information as we know it, explain the county regulatory authority, discuss current and future business impact, and answer questions, listen to concerns. That's at the end. Justin? Now, this is what we cannot do. We cannot zone land or use to determine where commercial businesses locate. We cannot prohibit a lawful private commercial development simply because it's unpopular. We cannot regulate groundwater usage, and we cannot regulate the ERCOT or their operations, or issue or deny state environmental permits. This is a private property rights state, free enterprise state, and that's something we need to be proud of. And don't ever back up from that. If you're not proud of that, then as far as I'm concerned, you can leave, because this is what this country is built on. So private property rights, you can understand what they are in the free enterprise system. There it is. Incidentally, there's a QR code. If y'all ever want to download that thing, it's on the door. You can have copies of it there. Moratoriums. Moratorium is a temporary pause on accepting or processing certain permits, approval, development applications, and additional information is gathered or regulations are considered based on a demonstrated shortage of essential public facilities. Counties do not have the authority to issue moratoriums. Hill County got sued for $100 million. They dropped the lawsuit on the county and went after the commissioners and judge for $20 million each. I don't think either one of us up here want to be sued for $20 million each. So we don't have the authority, so that right now is not going to pass. And it takes the Constitution to be changed in the state for us to have that authority. Okay, this is the example of Hill County. What Atascosa County can do. And again, I want everybody to know, we're not here promoting data centers. I know several faces out there right now that represent data centers. I know, you've been in my office. And those people are sitting out here today, and they asked to speak, and I told them, no, this is not your meeting. You want a meeting? You'll get to Pleasant Civic Center, Judging Civic Center, Showbarn, whoever, have your meeting. We'll come, but we're not going to sit here and promote data centers. That's not our job. That's their job to put their own stuff together. Require submission of subdivision plats, certain development applications allowed. This is the stuff that we can do. We can require compliance with subdivision rules and regulations from state and federal laws, review roads, damage, infrastructure associated with subdivisions, coordinate with state and local agencies to address development concerns and issues, protect county public roads and infrastructure, negotiate development agreements. That's something I'm talking about with the pilot program, which payment in lieu of taxes. And we can require review permitting for building fire codes and something else. So that's something else we're going to address later in this meeting about updating our fire code. So it will be a situation they have to work for. Who regulates what? So your roads, you got the county and state, TxDOT on the state highways. Groundwater pumping, Evergreen. Electricity is ERCOT. Air quality, water and sewage is TCEQ. Don't forget, I'm going to give you that lady's number. Don't forget to call her. That's an important issue. Water rights, the state mandates the water rights, fire codes, local fire marshal, which the Commissioners Court is going to adopt a new fire code, I think, next Monday. And rural development is Atascosa County, which Brittany Van Curren handles. Atascosa County today, we're going to talk about agriculture, oil and gas, San Miguel Cooperative, sand mining, and residential growth. Our county is grown, but you need to be prepared. Population of our county by U.S. Census 2020, 48,981. We went back, we counted the prisoners in the jail. We went back. Brittany, how many times did we count different places? Where's Brittany? I mean, we counted numbers and names and went back, and they would not accept us over 50,000. If you get over 50,000, you do have a little more authority on some things. We're not going to make it till 2030. At that time, the state recognizes us now as more, but the U.S. doesn't, and we can't get around that. Tax base, certified market value of $11.44 billion. That's before agriculture deductions and government buildings. So that's the basic stuff. So really, we have a net taxable value of $7.12 billion. Not many years ago, it wasn't near close to that. There's a graph right there. So in 20 years, you can see right there, we've gone from just under $2 billion to a peak of 7 billion now. But the point being is, look at that graph and look where we're at. The Eagleford was the main part of it. The Eagleford, we lost $500 million in value this year in oil and gas. A lot of it's commodity, and a lot of it is the wells are depleting. So that's something we have to look at. Thank God for the Eagleford. If he hadn't come along when it did, this county would be in a world of hurt. We're not like Live Oak, Karnes, LaSalle, McMullen. Those counties have the Eagleford. They got 40, 50, 80, 200 million in the bank. They have value. They have it both mineral. We don't have that. All we have is what we're living with, and we're under 50,000, so we can't regulate some of the subdivisions where we need to be. So we're stuck with that. So we need to figure out a way to get the values up and make it happen. Next slide. So let's talk about water usage. 1 acre foot is 325,000 gallons. An acre foot is one cubic foot over a whole acre. Oil and gas industry. Active wells, 16 to 1,900 oil wells are active. 7 to 1,000 are gas. Approximately 128 operators in the county. Number of water wells, 142 water wells supplied those jobs. The average water usage is 120 acre foot per frac job. Now, people, if you don't know that, that's a lot of water on a frac job. So if you have an oil and gas well and you got the frac job off that oil and gas well, believe me, there was, I don't have my notes in front of me, but there was a pretty good number of gallons produced that going down the hole. So that the land usage, approximately 14,000 acres of Atascosa County is taken up in locations, roads, tank batteries, and facilities. And each oil well has an average of 3 employees, whether you're in the operation side or what, and they'll pay about $100,000 in tax. Okay, now let's talk about the sand plant operations. So you've got land usage of 918 acres. That's the average sand plant. Water usage of that entity is 1,602 acre feet a year, which is 522 million gallons of water at those sand plants. You're going to see some things that are going to shock you when you see what's going on. Employees 80 to 150. Truck traffic is 1,700 trucks per frac job. So it takes 1,700 loads of sand to do one Eagleford frac job. Now you take that times 1,000 Eagleford wells, we're talking about 17 billion pounds of sand have been hauled out of these sand pits. 17 billion pounds of sand. That's a lot of sand. So their annual property tax, again, because of their values, is only set at $194,000 when they're out there generating those kind of numbers. All right, agriculture in Atascosa County. Let's look at a turf grass farm. We believe there's 13 turf grass farms out there that are commercial. The number of water wells on those turf grass farms is 48. The water usage is 1,495 acre feet, 487 million gallons a year. Land use is approximately 366 acres. There's just one entity that we use an example of. Employs 5 to 10 people, and the annual property tax per entity is $1,639. They get agriculture value on a turf grass farm. It's not the appraisal district's fault. It's a situation because it's a crop, and that crop is valued at that, and that's the way it is, and that's the way they're going to pay it. I don't blame them. They can get away with it, do it. Till the law's changed, that's what we're stuck with. City residential subdivisions. So we have a land usage of approximately 80 acres for 350 houses. And the water usage of that's 116 acre feet, 37 million gallons a year. Total residents around 1,200 people. That's 3 per household. Annual property tax is just under $600,000. Now, the tax numbers I'm using up here are county tax only, not school or city, just county. San Miguel Electric, coal-fired power plant down here south of Jordan, about 15 miles. In Atascosa County, they use 22,000 acres is what they've mined. Water usage is 4,719 acre feet a year, which is 5% of the, where's Curtis? 5% or so of the county uses of water. 5% of that water is, the county's water is used in that one plant. The annual tax for the county is $333,000, and years of operation left, 1.5 years. Year and a half from now, they're going to start turning the lights off. 300 jobs are going to go away. So we need to find some placement for those jobs. They need to be good jobs. You can see in 1992, the value was $215 million. Today is $69 million. Before long, it's going to be zero. So what are we going to do? We got to figure out ways to replace this stuff. Next. So this is an interesting comparison at a glance. If you look at it, the land usage across the board for everything, the water usage across the board for everything, employees, and the annual county property taxes. What is a data center? Now, again, I'm not selling data centers. This is a definition, and we're going to run through a few things that what people are misconception on. I'm not promoting them. I want you to know that. I want you to understand that this is an important issue right here that the facts need to get out. A data center is a facility that houses computer systems, related equipment to process, store, transmit digital information. Data centers support services such as cloud storage, artificial intelligence, banking, healthcare records, streaming services, email, and internet communications. All right, why are data centers being built? Cloud computing, artificial intelligence, population growth, increased internet usage, and national security. Okay, these are the types of data centers. I don't know anything about them, but this is what I've been told, and this is the information we gathered that's on the website. An edge data center, enterprise data center, a coalition data center, and a hyperscale data center. You can see that they're going to what the approximate tax value would be for Atascosa County and those. That's a lot of money. It may not be a lot to y'all, but that's a lot of money to this county. So we have to look at those kind of things and understand what our future is with this stuff. So, if you take a hyperscale data center that's going to pay us somewhere between $3.5 and $14 million, our total budget's not but $48 million. They'd pay a third of it. Next. What is a battery storage system? That's an energy system that's set up like a bunch of containers set up there that look like battery storage. Looks like a battery. Instead of stores electricity, large batteries, so electricity can be used when necessary to supplement the grid. Common uses you'll see are stores electricity, generated during peak and low demand hours, improve the electric grid reliability, and can provide backup power during outages and periods that demand support, such as wind and solar, which is a joke. Next. Community concerns. We understand that what people are. We totally respect that. We know you care about the water. We care about the water. We know about the cooling system, noise pollution, light pollution, fire protection, emergency response, environmental considerations. We understand what your fear is, and we respect that. And if we get a chance to get a data center, or we have an opportunity to come to us, we're going to look at them and we're going to talk to them and we're going to address these concerns. This is something we all care about. It's not something that you get mad about for any reason. And my door is wide open all the time. And so are these commissioners. They'll take you and listen to you anytime you want to. Just set an appointment and we'll make it work. Next. Who regulates the water? So everybody wants to blame the county for everything. Well, guess what? We don't regulate the water. Evergreen Water does. No disrespect. You guys got to be tough. But that's their job and that's what they do. And I appreciate you for doing that. Let me tell you something. Stand up, Aaron. Dr. Aaron Teague right there. I'm going to tell you something. When I first met her, I thought, oh my God, she's got bureaucrat stamped on her forehead. I respect that lady right there as much as anybody. She's good. She knows her facts. She can back them up, and she doesn't run from it. And one of the things I've questioned her on is over and over and over. I've drilled over 3,000 water wells in my name in this county alone. And I can tell you, I can sit toe-to-toe with her, and she backs me down. She's pretty good. She's pretty good. So Evergreen, that's the one you need to talk to if you have a question on water. Data center cooling systems. Again, we don't know anything about data centers. This is information that we picked up and tried to bring forward. They have air cooling, evaporative cooling, chilled water cooling, and liquid cooling, which is like it's submerged in like a antifreeze. Earlier this year, Commissioner Eustace and myself, Curtis Vickers, we had a chance to got an invitation to go to Rockdale, Texas, to look at a Bitcoin mine, second largest in the United States. Or North America. So we went up there and we spent the day. We toured those buildings, looked at those facilities. There was some noise. There was some heat. It wasn't atrocious. That's the second largest in the United States. We walked through there like it was nothing to it. And I got to tell you that I wouldn't have a problem with that thing being a block from my house. I really mean that. It was a pretty impressive deal. If you get a chance, you want to go, I'll make a phone call and see if we can get you in. You have to do a lot of security to get up there, but I guarantee you, if you want to go look at it, it's worth the trip. Decibel levels. We've heard everything from crazy to nuts, but 55 is the normal, with like your air conditioner noise and stuff. All this is variable. So we have to look at what really fits the deal. These are just some ideas which you can look at that's typical to that. Noise and mitigation sound barriers. We've been told by data centers that they can mitigate the noise and they can handle the sound barriers. I don't know, not my deal. Again, that's what we've been told. Light pollution, same thing. That's another thing. I don't know who actually regulates that. Commissioners really don't. And I think TCEQ might, but I can't get an answer out of that woman. I'm going to give you her phone number after a while, promise you. I want everybody to know that and call them. Give them hell. Because they're a bunch of bureaucrats that don't want, all they want to do is collect a paycheck. Y'all understand that, right? Okay. I'm telling you, I'm upset about that. So these are the things that some questions we don't know. We'll find the answers out, but we don't know the answers to those. But we'll get the answers. Next. Fire protection, emergency response. That is a big issue. We mostly have volunteer fire departments with the exception of the city of Pleasanton. And is Brad here? Where's Brad? City manager back there. Brad, you're doing a good job. That guy right there, he's the fire chief and city manager. And I can tell you right now, we can pick up the phone, call him, and we're getting good response. Also, we have 2 ESDs now, ESD1, Lytle area, and ESD2, which is Lemming to Rossville, basically. And those 2 are in place, and there's a separate tax for that, but you'll get the revenue off that. We'll buy new fire trucks and end up with paid departments and stuff like that. We're working to get forward to that. Pleasanton, Jordanton, and Christine, and Charlotte, and Campbellton are all volunteer, and I have to and Lemming. Well, no, Lemming's part of the ESD now. Yeah, but the other ones, God bless them. Thank God for those volunteers showing up there. Are they trained? You know what I know. You don't know what they can do until they get there on the scene. It's a situation we have to look at. And if a data center comes, we'll try to make a deal with them to figure that out. But I've understand through Medina County and Guadalupe County that they made deals with people to help upgrade stuff. Next. Environmental considerations. TCEQ again. I'm going to give you her number. So this is what they regulate and this is what they control. And if you'll see right there, Executive Director Kelly Kill, and that's her phone number. I don't care if y'all call her at midnight, or I don't care when you call her, but give her hell. She's a bureaucrat and needs to answer to the public. Next. All right, now this is where we're going to get into charts and make you understand what we got. Annual water usage per acre foot. You'll see a hyperscale center is 6 acre-feet per year. Okay? Then you got a subdivision at 106, Eagleford frac job at 120, turf grass farm at 1,405, sand plant at 1,602, and then power generation, which is San Miguel, at around 4,600. These are all acre-foot numbers. So I'm going to tell you, a lot of misinformation is out there. Even if you take that hyperscale data center to a subdivision or an Eagleford frac job, which I don't think it'd come anywhere close, you're not talking about a lot of water. You're not talking about a lot of water at all. Next, development comparison. This is annual tax revenue. You take a hyperscale generation data center, that would pay almost $4 million a year in taxes. And then you go on down from there and you'll see where we're at. This is important. If you go back and look at the chart that we showed earlier, the peak out and come down, this is important. We need to, don't get me wrong, lives are important, but San Miguel, when it came 50 years ago, there were people screaming, hollering. I know, I was sitting on Commissioner's Court, and they were screaming, hollering, kicking, we can't let this happen, we can't let this happen. Do you realize what they've generated for us over the years? And we're going to get into that with the water in a little bit. You're not going to see what you think, I promise you. So 6 acre-feet a year, 20, 50 acre-feet a year is not what you think. Okay, next. What Atascosa County is doing, we're gathering facts, we're asking questions, preparing for the future. And that's right, we do have meetings. Like I said, I know several data center people in here today. I see a few of them. And I've met with them and I've talked to them. And I'm not afraid to tell you that I did. But there's nothing hard or concrete that we've talked about. There's no agreements made. We don't sign NDAs. We don't do any of that stuff. Our job is to find out the facts, talk to the people. I've talked to car dealerships. I've talked to oil and gas people. I've talked to just about any industry you can that can walk through my door, we've met with. So don't blame the data centers for us meeting with them and talking to them. We have every right to, and they have every right to talk to us. We are going to update the fire code. Ronald the fire marshal. Uh, we talked about it. We're going to go from the 2015 to 2024 fire code, and I think it's on next Monday's agenda. No, the next week. Okay, we've got to get the sub prepared, but it'll be on the 27th agenda. Okay, next. Our commitments to transparency and public engagement. Thank you for coming tonight. It took something like this to get the public out, instead of sitting on Facebook and hiding behind a bunch of rumors and telling a bunch of lies. So if you've got something you want to talk to us, don't hesitate to call us. But to sit there and tell lies about us and we're doing what we can, you need to know that we're doing what we can. Atascosa County is committed to keep you engaged. We have an open door policy. These two ladies right here are in my office, my chief of staff and court coordinator. I guarantee you one thing, we'll get an appointment set if you want to meet with me or one of the commissioners or most of these people in this box. We'll get it set up. Monday Minute with the Judge. Every Monday it's on Facebook. We talk about community initiatives and highlighting department heads and stuff. I write a judge's community column in the Pleasant Express every week. County communication, we do everything we can on the website. Also, our public meetings are streamed and recorded for data and put in place so you can go back and look at it anytime. We got nothing to hide, people, nothing. So we're here to do what we can do and do it right. Next. So at this time, there is no data center project in Atascosa County that's been confirmed. We don't know of anything. Mr. Sanchez doesn't know of anything. There's a lot of talk, but there's nothing that we know of confirmed. Now, are people talking and negotiating? Yeah, they are, just like anybody would for a car or a tractor or whatever. They're trying to do a piece of real estate. They're negotiating. Is there anything confirmed? Not that I know of. So no incentives have been requested or approved. No tax abatement has been requested or approved. And there's no contract binding agreement that's been presented to the Atascosa County. Nothing whatsoever. Next. So now we're going to have questions and concerns. If you want to make a statement or you have a question, you're welcome to come up here. You'll be recognized in order you're signed in. Speaker must be a resident or taxpayer of Atascosa County. Each speaker will have up to 3 minutes. There'll be no yielding of time. Questions and comments will be directed to the panel. So Martin Gonzalez, who's our historical commission chairman, he will be up here and moderate the thing. I'm going to step back in case there's a direct question for me. So if we don't have an answer tonight, or one of the panel doesn't have an answer, we'll get you that answer. We will. There's been some internet questions come in. The cutoff time was at noon, so we get answers for that. So I think I'm going to rotate those right between that. How many you have total?
I have 23 in person. Yep, and I think 11 online.
11 online and 23 in person. So we'll get on top of that. All right. It's all yours, Mr. Gonzalez.
Thank you, sir. Good evening. As the judge said, my name is Martin Gonzalez, County Historical Commission. I'm born and raised here at Costa County. I was born Old Mercy Hospital when it was there. Well, I'm having to use reading glasses tonight. So let me read these rules again just to be clear. Speakers must be Atascosa County residents. Speakers should begin by stating their name and address. Each speaker will have 3 minutes. No yielding or transferring of time will be permitted. Go back and forth with the panelists. They will speak for 3 minutes, ask all their questions, and then get an answer. Then we move to the next question. We ask everyone to remain respectful so we can hear from as many residents as possible before 8. And questions submitted in advance and questions from residents attending in person. We'll begin with an in-person speaker, then between speaker and one online question. We'll start with the first in-person speaker here. One, we go. Okay. Everybody hear me? All right, now we're cooking. All right, I'm sorry, Ms. Corus. Corus, yes, ma'am. You have 3 minutes. Go ahead and ask your question. There's a clock going here for you to see as well.
Is that starting with my name and address or
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
name is Jacqueline Forrest, I live at 2585 Bruce Road, Atascosa, Cotuit, Texas. The county gave the disabled 21 hours and 42 minutes to prepare a statement that may be read at tonight's meeting. And you've been organizing behind closed doors at least since January 2026 regarding data centers. According to your bias slideshow, slide 13, you stated the population of Atascosa County is under 50,000. That was in 2020. However, according to census.gov, the population of Atascosa County is 53,590 as of July 1st, 2025. We all know why we want to keep the population under 50,000. Just stating one reason, elections. Different precinct requirements and election administration rules apply. Your bias presentation took up some time tonight on such an important topic concerning health and well-being of your constituents. This exemplifies exactly how you prioritize the residents of Atascosa County. Atascosa County residents are intelligent people. We do our research. We learn the facts. The facts are Judge Weldon Coode, Commissioner Eustace, Curtis Vickers, Tabitha Garza, TEG have been planning behind closed doors since at least January 2026. The person in charge of giving out permits to these companies that will drain our resources like water is the fire marshal. Ours is not certified by the state of Texas to do so, even have the accreditations to responsibly act as a fire marshal in the event of a catastrophic fire event such as a best center or data center catches fire in our county. How do you go from being a police officer for over 20 years to being a fire marshal with no firefighting experience? Atascosa County requires our fire marshal to only have one certification, which is basic fire investigator. The state of Texas, Texas Commission on Fire Protection, requires 4 additional certifications and continuing education. Took Sanchez 603 days after being paid as a fire marshal to get one certification. 1 year, 7 months, 24 days. We demand the county update and raise the requirements to meet state requirements for a fire marshal. Michelangelo Panza has more firefighting experience and state accreditations to qualify as a fire marshal. I guess when and if a catastrophic fire event happens in Atascosa, Ron can call on Mike and ask what to do. With the proposed data center development, can the county and companies disclose what type of cooling system refrigerants will be used, including whether Freon, HFCs, ammonia, or other chemical refrigerants will be stored on site? If so, what quantities will be present? What leak detection, emergency response plans will be required? Will the public be given access to the environmental, fire, safety, and TCEQ related documents before any agreements move forward?
Okay. Do you want to address that? We addressing that? No. Okay. Okay. No question. All right. All right. Moving on to the online question here. Stephanie Moreno, you present? All right. Stephanie Moreno had one question. I don't think she's present. I'm going to go ahead and read it out loud and then assign it to a panelist. Could you provide an update on the timeline for completing the Highway 281 repaving project in northern Atascosa County? The roadway was torn up several months ago and has been left uneven and unfinished, creating concerns for drivers. Additionally, could the median stretch be mowed? The overgrown grass is becoming a safety hazard by obstructing visibility of oncoming traffic at intersections and turn lanes. That is a text dot question. All right. Yes, go ahead. Okay. No. No. Thank you so much. Second in-person speaker, we have Oscar Corus.
My name is Oscar Kors. I believe it's 2585 Booth Road, O'Keefe, Texas. I had prepared statements here, but some of it has been answered. But what I'd like to remind is that transparency amongst county officials, because back in January, the county, in June, the county had stated that they had not met with any data centers, but yet in January, y'all had met with data centers. There was a phone conversation, meeting with them, and it's public, it was on public record. So, like y'all said, you need to talk with these people. They have questions, y'all have answers for them about what they can or can't do, or what you all can do in that. But I want to remind you, because of the Public Information Act, to make sure that you stay transparent to the constituents as to what's going on, because we all need to know, and we feel like y'all are trying to hide something if we have to dig for it. I'm not accusing you of anything. I'm just saying it looks that way if we have to dig for it. So please be transparent about things that are going on in the county, so that it does not shed a bad light on you all, because I know that you're trying to do your best, but that's just a friendly reminder. Thank you.
You hear me? Yeah. Oh, that one's not working. And when you approach the microphone up here, if you can get a little closer to it, it should be on. We'll test it in the next one that we come up. We're gonna do another online question here. This one's from Michelle Haith. Michelle Haith, are you here? I'm gonna go ahead and ask the question for her. Before approving this project, what guarantees can you give the residents who live nearby that our water supply, property values, quality of life, and tax dollars will be protected, and how will those guarantees be enforced if the developer fails to meet them? Would you like to address that one?
Pretty sure Evergreen needs to probably ask. Do you have any remarks, values and stuff?
Do you want to hear that question again? Okay, the question was, before approving this project, what guarantees can you give the residents who live nearby that our water supply, property values, quality of life, and tax dollars will be protected? And how will those guarantees be enforced if the developer fails to meet them?
Get over here. Just turn it around.
Ever accused me of being soft-spoken before? Okay.
Wait a minute. They can't hear it on live stream. You have to speak into the microphone. All right.
Get in here.
So the Evergreen. So the Evergreen. Okay. So the Evergreen
Speak into it loud.
regulates groundwater through implementing the district rules. The district rules apply to all wells, regardless of age, size, or use. So when you ask what guarantees are there, we implement the rules on every single well. If there is a violation of the rules, the state of Texas authorizes each groundwater district, including the Evergreen, to implement a fine or seek amelioration from the violator, which can go up to $25,000 a day per violation. That's a pretty big fine. But we have to go through a process to document the violation and take it to a judge to seek civil penalties. We will go through the process when we have an application to seek that every single application meets those rules and then implement those rules throughout the lifetime of that well.
Okay. You want to add on value? Speak directly into that microphone.
Okay, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So the value, we have to wait until something is here before we can value it. We can't predict a value, we can't estimate a value. And then what that value does to your property, we have to wait and see how the market reacts. We report solely on market indications. So it's a waiting game. We can't predict anything on property value.
Okay.
Let me say something. else.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
So we also need to understand, we have rules and regulations we have to follow. Those rules and regulations are based upon what the statute has given it to us by the state of Texas. There was a question earlier about us wanting to stay under the 50,000 population. That is absolutely wrong. We begged to go over the 50,000. We went back and recounted to see if we could get over 50,000, even have another census done locally, because it gets us to a different set of rules. So I'm telling you the truth on that. That went above and beyond, and I'm tired of lies.
Okay, moving on to the next in-person question, speaker number 3, John A. Ortiz Jr. Okay. Hello, Mr. Ortiz. Can you take that off? Yeah. Yes, sir. Take the mic. You can take it off.
Okay,
There you go. Welcome, Mr. Ortiz.
thank you.
Yes, sir.
My name is John A. Ortiz
There you go.
Jr. I live in 65 Pura S Lane, and I've lived here in Atascosa County for the last 48 years, okay? So I'm not from here, but I am here and I will die here, okay?
All right.
When I came here, brought 5 sons with me, 14 to a year old. And I have lived here, paid my taxes like everybody else. My concern is this, a comment and then question. Comment is this. I went to the review board to protest my taxes, right? Which I have a right to do. And the answer that I got was, well, the surrounding counties are compared to my property. It's okay. I've sat on the review board. I've served on that board in the 80s, and I know the procedures. So my concern is this. My question was, I stated on the record on the protest, taxes are too high, and everybody says that. My main concern was that people, not around the county, but people living an acre behind me are not paying any taxes because they have been put on exempt status as a church. It's a residential area. I've been to the previous county judge. I've been with the judge before in this commissioner's court and stated the fact that I'm stating to you today. And the facts are, this county, the judge just gave us a briefing, and the briefing was, we don't have enough money, right? So what do we get the revenue from is from taxes. And if that is the point that I'm trying to make is, how come people that live an acre behind me are not paying any taxes? They're completely exempt, and I stated it on my form. 0 taxes. I don't think that's right, okay? Now, the next question is, or a comment also, is why is that? I've been to the appraisal board, and the lady that I've just recognized that spoke a while ago stated the facts, answering the question. And my question is, why are the people 1 acre behind me paying no taxes? Okay? That's my question. And I think she can address it. Now, if her duties as an entity like the judge are talking about maybe it's a state controller's responsibility to approve records or not. That's a question to you, ma'am, okay? So if you approved it, what I'm saying is it should be somewhat of a building that is fire safe. We've been to the fire chiefs in the past, and I have record of that, talking with them. I'm gonna be brief. And no answers, right?
Your time is up. Yes, sir.
Andy?
I believe the property you're discussing is the church.
Yeah.
And churches have their own application that's put out by the state. If they can meet those requirements and they provide the documentation, they're granted the exemption, whether it looks like what we think it should look like or not. They qualified for the exemption by the state regulations and we applied the exemption.
Did you grant them that status?
My office did, so in essence, yes, I
So
did.
in essence, you're.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay, hold on. Mr. Ortiz, we can't have a back and forth.
Hold on.
She answered your question so
You can
that,
meet with her after, or you can meet
Yeah.
with her off.
I'd like to come.
We got a lot of
talk
people
to
wanna
the person in your
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
In fact, I was intending to do that and talk to my state representative that is sitting right there.
okay,
I've come
yes, sir.
before you, and I've come before the previous judge and the board. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Ortiz. Thank you very much, sir. All right, the next online question we have is Julie Bruce. I'm going to read her question. This is online submission. Have all fire departments been trained on how to handle BSS fires? And have they been supplied with the equipment to handle them? Mr. Sanchez? Okay. Thank you, sir. All right, our next in-person question, speaker number 4, Mark Mamsel. I hope I'm saying that right. Can you say that for me, please? What's your last name? Monsell. Okay, thank you, sir. Go ahead, yes, sir.
Judge, good evening. My name is Mark Monsell. I live in Ampion, Precinct 3 on Hannon Road. I've been asked by 2 property owners that share my property boundaries to speak on their behalf tonight as well. Our combined property boundaries extend about 3/4 of a mile on the western boundary of the North Herman site. Data centers don't come to give. It's trickle-down economics. Data centers come to take and infringe on our already limited resources. We've been through that. 27 individual properties bound this North Herman site. I challenge you to go talk to each one of those families and tell them what's coming and tell them what's going to be the impact on the value of their property and their quality of life. Can you imagine a data center backed up to your property? In the past weeks, I've been to the county and the Evergreen meetings. The explanations I've heard are understandable, but they're words without teeth. They might sound good, but they're nothing more than promises, alibis, and excuses. The mixed messages from Austin are nothing more than obfuscation. Agendas are hidden, and follow the money is probably the answer. The Herman legal battles goes way back to last year. David Herman's intent and objectives were clear even back then. Let's say I ask you a direct question. How are you going to protect our quality of life with a data center sitting on our property line? It's rhetorical, of course, and I don't expect an answer. If you had one, I'd ask you to explain it to our horses and our cattle. In the words of Charles Spurgeon, a very highly respected theologian and scholar, it's never right to do a little wrong for the greater good. Your duty is to do the right, and the consequences are with God. What I'm doing here tonight is not defensive. I intend to oppose any person or organization that proffers in any way from the unbridled power and money of data centers in Atascosa County. I got dogs in this fight and they're not on a leash. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. You can just put it on the table right there, sir. Yeah, just put it on. Thank you so much.
I was actually number 4 as well. Am I on there? Already? Amanda?
Oh, yeah, you were. Hold on. These are misnumbered. There's 2 number 4s and 2 number 5s. You'll be coming up. I guess you're really number 6. So give me about 2 more and then we'll get on there. Yes, ma'am. Another online question here from Julie Bruce again. Is the Energy Ranch data center separate from another data center that Mr. Coot and Mr. Vickers have been planning and working on?
So as far as I can tell now, and I think everybody has seen on Facebook and other places through the news, that the Energy Ranch project is not actually in Atascosa County, it's in Frio. And I think that was confirmed at the Evergreen meeting when they withdrew their application. It was documented by the resistant groups as well that they had withdrawn. What you're considering a data center that we have planned is the meeting that occurred with Texas Energy Group. That was an introductory meeting. They came to us, introduced themselves, told us what they were doing, where they were looking. We asked a bunch of questions. The transcript was out there in the public information. There should have been everything in there transparent. And that's basically the last we heard of them until I had a phone call from Mr. Little, said, hey, we're looking at a small project. Didn't say it was a data center. They do various things. Best is other things as well. They're a power builder. Said we're looking for something about 50 acres, county or city. County doesn't have anything that large. I told them the city has a property, 500 acres they purchased. You can look at it, see if it fits your needs. If so, contact the city. And so none of these projects are connected, and none of the projects other than the Energy Ranch has been confirmed.
Thank you, sir. Order speaker number 5 in person, Diane Shira. Hello, Ms. Shira. A little closer.
I may have turned it off.
Hi, my name is Diane Scher.
Perfect.
I live at 105 Masad in Pleasanton. And I'm sorry, you can't hear me. You made some terms.
Get the mic a little closer.
Oh,
There you
sorry.
go.
You made some terms, light pollution and noise
fine.
pollution. And I wanted to explain what that means for a data center. A data center is going to have blazing lights, really bright. And if you live close to one, you won't be able to see any stars. You'll see nothing but lights. The noise pollution, I have been around them, I have heard them, and they are very loud. And if they are close enough to your home, you can hear them inside your home. You can forget about the backyard barbecues and the kids kicking the football around. No one will be able to stand it. And if you're inside your home and you can still hear that noise, what about your family meals and the kids' homework and sleeping? That's all gone too. So I just want everyone to be aware, if they're close enough to your home, that's the kind of life you will have. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shira. All right, we have another online question here. Shannon Strauss. I'm going to read this for her. I would like to know 2 things from the data center parent company. How many proposed jobs will be brought to Atascosa County in reference to the permanent structure and continued employment, not just the building of the data center? Number 2, could you please clearly explain in layman's terms the closed loop cooling system and the way the center will reclaim and process their own cooling water?
we're not here representing data centers, so I can't speak for the answer to the first one. That's up to them if they want to have their own presentation and move forward. Again, I see several faces in here that have been in my door, so think about doing that if you want to do so. Mr. Sanchez will talk about the cooling systems. I'm not gonna call them out.
Okay. Is there a closed loop water cooling is water circulates through sealed pipes and coils to cool servers without being exposed to air. These systems can significantly reduce water consumption by up to 70%. And that's one of 4 types of cooling systems they make. The one that uses the least amount of water is the direct liquid cooling and immersion system, which is what we would like to add to our fire code in 2024. If you're going to build here, you're going to have to use that. And that's what we're striving for with our new fire code. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sanchez. Our next speaker, let me fix this number, it's supposed to be 6, Amanda Alderete. Hello, ma'am.
Hello. Oh, I'm gonna drop some stuff. Amanda Alderetti, 339 PR Mill Lane. So my first request is a moratorium. I know you said that we can't and that you guys may possibly be sued, but there's no evidence of that. So I would still like to possibly request that also. To establish a new water regulatory board. The third thing is a high water development review board as well. We had some numbers earlier, about 3 to 14 million that you guys can generate. But if you think about cost and associated to a possible fire, you could be spending around 2 million. So let's just say if we're at the bottom level of 3.5, we subtract 2 million, we're left with 1.5. How are we going to pay for all the transportation and the vehicles coming in and out? We're going to need money for the roads. So by the end of the day, once we have all this money that we're supposedly getting, we're actually going to be paying out so much more. And on top of that, what about the energy consumption? So we all know that there's a tax abatement, right? So the increase that we have could be anywhere from 35%. If I'm paying $230 right now on my bill, I'll be paying around $300. That has to go to somewhere, right? So state or locally, our schools. So who's going to fork out the money for the schools for the increase? I mean, we're talking about 2 million probably. So all the money that you think that we're going to make, we're not. We're not going to make that money. The biggest thing that I see as an issue right now, and it's mostly coming from Harvard analysis, air pollution for health economic risks for AI data centers. So this specific gentleman from Harvard is stating that there's going to be a climate catastrophic event because there's no, we are building at an alarming rate to the point that nothing's regulated. We don't know how these things work. We don't know how they operate. And let's just look at Wyoming. They just had a closed loop system that supposedly doesn't discharge into the aquifer or into their water source. It's in their water source right now, and they have bacteria in their water that they can't drink. How are you supposed to bathe? Or what about a fire? What about the California fire that just recently happened? What are you guys going to do about the toxic chemicals? So my biggest concern here is taking care of the people, taking care of the constituents. We obviously know that the money's not going to be there. So why don't we just save all the energy and just stop this madness?
Thank you, Ms. Alderete. Sir. Yes.
So I am your county attorney. I'm not Atascosa County Attorney. I am the taxpayer's attorney. I represent the county, which is also your county. So I'm Molly Solis, and I'm coming to you from a perspective of having been a city attorney as well as a county attorney. And legally, we do not have statutory authority as a county to implement a moratorium on development. Cities do. Cities do have that ability. It's very limited, and there's a very structured process for a city to go through to have a 90-day, then 180 days, and then they have to wait 2 years to do it again. We don't have that. Hill County commissioners were sued, and they did withdraw their moratorium because they were outside of the statute. And when government officials act outside of a statutory authority, they're exposing themselves to personal liability, which I have explained to all of our commissioners they would be doing if we enacted or tried to enact a moratorium, which is not provided for in the statutory authority we have right now. Your information that you gave, I'm not a numbers person, I'm a words person. I went to St. Mary's, not Harvard. So I'm just going to let you know from a perspective of Texas law, we follow what laws we have available to us to regulate based on public health, safety, and welfare. And that's what we do every day. What we have available to us is very limited because we are a property rights state. Texas values property owners' right to develop the way they want to develop, to bring enterprise here and to have business operate legally, but to attract all kinds of business. And so we are limited in our capacity to regulate things. That is the sad part. But that is our state. That is what we vote for. So when you vote for Peter Flores and you vote for Don McLaughlin, they're your voice. If you don't want that, you need to contact them because they're about to head into a legislative session in January, and they are already working on the bills to introduce that are important to you. The things that you're requesting are important, but we, as a county government, can't make those changes. We are limited to what they say we have available to us under the Texas Constitution and the laws and the statute of the state of Texas. So they can help us, and they do help us. Both of them do help us. But we have to tell them what we need, and they have to be able to get it through the legislative session. And we all know how that works, right? Making the sausage, we don't want to see that either, but we want it on the other side to make sure we get what we need. So I'm telling you, use the tools. That's why we're here, because they want to answer the questions. I want to answer the questions because we're paid with your money. I mean, that's not lost on us, but we are doing our due diligence as economic and project manager and commissioners to meet with businesses that want to come here and then legally develop. What are the risks to our water? What are the risks to our air? What are the risks to our electric and our light? I live in the country. I don't want to live in a subdivision because I don't want somebody right next to me. If I want to go out and take my trash out in my pajamas, that's what I want to do. So that's why I live in the country. So if you have a data center right behind your house and you live in the country, that's because you live in a property rights state. I'm sorry. Everybody wants those property rights until somebody wants to build a junkyard next to you. Then you don't want that person to have the same rights that you have. RV parks, Eagle Ford came, we had man camps, we had RV parks, mobile home parks. You know, there's a purpose for all of them, but we just don't want it right next to us, right? So we do what we can as a county. Our rural development department does what they can, fire marshal, emergency management. We work within the authority we have. And if there's some that we don't, then we ask them to please help us get it. But those are policy decisions made at the state level. You need to contact Governor Abbott because he has mentioned this recently as something he wants to address in the legislative session. That's when you come in because you vote. They listen to you.
So that's what we're trying to say is we will do what we can here, but you got to go to the next level too. And we're just here to try and provide you information that we have right now. Tomorrow, if somebody buys a piece of land, we don't have control over that. But when they come to us, we do. And so tax abatements and pilot agreements, those are tools that the legislature has given us to regulate people we don't have statutory authority to regulate. What can you do with the contract agreement with a developer? You can set the terms. You can say, you're going to do this for the sound. You're going to do this for the light. You're going to do all of these things if you want anything from us. And that's what tools we have. Now, should they get a tax abatement? They're not asking for them, guys. They're not worried about paying the taxes. They'll pay them. It's us trying to use the tools we have. And with the judge's permission, I would like to ask if Councilmember Emery can jump into the ring with me here for the end. Okay. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I think it might answer a bunch of questions. I used to be the city attorney for Lytle, and there is a data center out there. So he does have good information for us on the pros and cons. And I would just like him to be able to present that at some point.
Yes.
I want to add what Mike said, one thing. And the data centers that have contacted me or have come to see us or come through the door, their big issue is they want land, not for water. They want land to have a buffer so they can get inside the internal part of it and stay away from the neighbors. That's what they've been telling me, and that's what I have to believe. That they're lying to me, they're lying to me. But that's what they're telling us. They want to have enough land with enough buffer around them that they don't impact the neighbors.
Okay, I'm gonna move on to an online question here. Gilbert Cumberledge. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and read this. His question is, I'm writing to formally voice my opposition to any proposed data centers or BESS projects. As a resident of Atascosa County, I am deeply concerned that our local public safety infrastructure is completely inadequate to handle these unique, high-risk fire emergencies. We do not have the manpower, resources, training, or expertise to respond to them safely. I have been trying for over a year to get the city of Pleasanton to get the outdoor warning siren system up and running, and to my knowledge, no other city in Atascosa besides Lytle regularly tests or has a working system. Just last month, Jernton was under a tornado warning and residents had no outdoor warning system to alert them. The current countywide alert system is inadequate and needs updating. How will the county mitigate this very important issue? How will the county mitigate the very important issue? It's a question. This would be a question I believe is going to be the emergency resources, training, or expertise to respond to fires safely. High-risk fire emergencies.
This is Mike Ponzo, our emergency management coordinator.
Thank you. This is real easy in terms of the public warning system. Mr. Cumberledge does bring up a good point. A lot of our siren notification systems in the county they're owned by the respective city or the volunteer fire department where these sirens are located at. In terms of what the county does, the county will use a system where I can push a notification to your phone, whether you subscribe to our warning alert system or not. I can push it. I can push it on a block. I can push it countywide. It's no different than if you're going through an area that is experiencing an emergency, it's going to pop up on your phone.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, in-person question here. Connie Reyna. Thank you, Ms. Reyna. If you would just
Thank
put it
you very
real
much.
close up to your
My
ear.
question has to do with the water waste, because I understand that the equipment uses an awful lot of water. And I also understand from the little research that I did that there is also some chemicals that are involved to prevent like algae and bacteria. And what I want to know is, how is this water disposed? Would any of that like go into our river? Would any of that harm the land, the agricultural produce that we have? Or would it harm the wild animals? Basically, that's what my main concern is, that I want to make sure that we do have a safe environment. I know there's good and bad in everything,
Yes, ma'am.
but when you have water waste like that, and you know that if you put water, warm water into the river or anything like that, that's going to affect the fish, you know, and it's going to affect the birds and all the wildlife. Okay, and I feel like we need to prevent that. We have a beautiful town. We have a beautiful wildlife. We have a beautiful river. And it's important that we maintain that, especially also with the agriculture. If you have chemicals that are going into the soil, is that going to affect the agriculture, the produce that we get? And that's basically my question.
Yes, ma'am, and I
Thank
think
you.
they can give you an answer here.
Thank you.
All right, so in Texas, when the water is used and it is discharged to a surface water, it becomes under the jurisdiction of TCEQ. So not to pile on with Judge Cood, but that's TCEQ. They have to obtain a Texas Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, also called a TEPDES permit. Those permits will go up for public comment and are posted with TCEQ, and the public has an opportunity to let the TCEQ commissioners know what their feelings are on that permit. So that's TCEQ's jurisdiction.
That's right. Yes, sir. All right, next online question is from Vicky Eckert. Vicky Eckert. All right, I'm going to read her question here. With the proposed data center development, can the county and the companies disclose what type of cooling system and refrigerants will be used, including whether any Freon? You just cut me off. You just cut me off. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry, including whether any Freon, HFCs, ammonia, or other chemical refrigerants will be stored on site. If so, what quantities will be present? What leak detection and emergency response plans will be required, and will the public be given access to the environmental, fire safety, and TCEQ related documentation before any approvals or agreements move forward? That's a multi-question question. You could answer some of that. You did the part, I think you answered this earlier, talking about refrigerants will be stored. If so, what quantities will be present? What leak detection and emergency response plans will be required? And will the public be given access to the, you answered that with the TCEQ permit,
So
right?
that's more under the jurisdiction of a whole host of state and federal agencies. The chemical storage, there's specific requirements. It's governed by a combination of TCEQ and EPA. There's even OSHA requirements, but that's really under the jurisdiction of specific permitting authorities.
Thank you. Next speaker, Wayne Grant. Hello, Mr. Grant.
How you doing? My name is Wayne Grant. I live at 308 Campbell Avenue here in Jordanton. I have two questions, one for the water and also one for the electric. when the county water gets low and people are having to ration water, because I believe with all the water they'll be using, it's going to come. Would the data center be under the same guideline as the citizens as far as rationing water usage? If there was a data center?
Yes, because he has a question for you, and then he has a question totally separate from that. So go ahead. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Ask your second question,
And
Mr.
the
Grant.
electric, when the electric grid is stressed, and citizens become subject to rolling blackouts, will the data center be under the same guideline? I just want to know if they get a free pass.
Okay. Go ahead.
In regards to the groundwater well permits, what we have in our rules is curtailment. So we manage to a desired future condition. And when there is drawdown in the aquifers that reaches certain triggers towards that desired future condition, then we have, under our rules, curtailment, which means that everybody takes a haircut. That is all permits, regardless of use, take an even cut in their permitted use. So everybody, regardless of use.
Thank you. Thank you. And then who wants to take this one?
Thank you. I'm Dale Fowler with American Electric Power, AEP Texas. Got Carnes Electric Co-op also. Let me just speak on AEP's behalf first. Understand that our primary concern is to build safe and reliable infrastructure. AEP Texas is a wires-only company, transmission and distribution company, and we have actually an obligation to serve indiscriminately based on those projects that have gone through the PUC process, Public Utility Commission of Texas, and the ERCOT planning process. So with respect to rolling blackouts or what have you, that becomes a decision of ERCOT when and who would have to be experience rolling blackouts under those certain circumstances. Now, I might add, if the data centers were to bring their own generation or a portion of their own generation, and if the system is upgraded to handle their new load, then there's the potential for actually a more robust system in your area because of the infrastructure that's built on behalf of that data center. Something to think about.
Eric Hoffman with Carnes Electric. So we fall under the same statutory requirement to have an obligation to serve. That's a great question, and is a concern that was brought up within the state, and it is currently being looked at and addressed as part of the Senate Bill 6 that was passed this past legislative session. And there's different types of data centers, different types of loads, and they may have different types of load curtailments and flexibility that they can do. And if they are flexible, as pointed out, that could provide resiliency within the community when it comes to curtailments. A good example of that would be in the Phelps area. I understand there's a large load there that they were able to curtail, and that allowed the rest of the citizens on that system to not have to have rolling blackouts. So that's really a non-answer to the question, as there's a lot of information that goes into it, and there's a lot of information to be known before we know the exact answer to that question, how each data center will what their role will be within the rolling blackouts, but it is governed by ERCOT and their directions to the transmission service providers.
One more thing to add, as he mentioned, Senate Bill 6, it's very important legislation that deals specifically with large loads, and the bill defines those, and ERCOT defines those as loads over 75 megawatts. And it's worth noting that your representative and your senator were very instrumental in getting that legislation passed, and we're currently going through the rulemaking to make sure we understand how all of that's going to shake out in the future.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Grant. The next online question is submitted by Jamie Pollock. I'll read this. Knowing we are already facing a looming water shortage, how is our water and other resources being protected when an industry threatens them how are our rights to clean water, peace and quiet, clean air, safety for the community, and the wildlife being upheld when decisions are not being posed to the community? So the second part of that question's already been answered. The first part, I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys answer that one. So again, let me repeat that first question. Knowing we are already facing a looming water shortage, how is our water and other resources being protected when an industry threatens them?
So all wells are subject to the rules of the district. So I'm going to make a very shameless plug here. If your well is not registered or permitted, come talk to us. Let's get you taken care of. But the other part of that question was, how does the public know? I'm also going to give a shameless plug here. We're currently in an open comment period for our desired future conditions. The desired future conditions are the management goal of the district for the next 50 years. It basically is going to guide the rules that we implement. So if you're a well owner, if you use water from a well, from a public water system, you're going to inherit these rules. You'll have to abide by them. And they're set based on this management goal. We are in that open comment period. It goes through August 31st. We would love to hear your voices. Please go ahead, take a look at our website, look at that desired future condition, what that allowable drawdown, how our aquifers will be impacted, and give us a comment. Participate in that public process. We look forward to your comments.
Thank you. Speaker number 9, Shanna Baker. Hello, Ms. Baker.
Hi, how are y'all?
Doing
I'm
great.
Shanna Baker. I live at 707 Waltham in Jordanton. And I just wanted to speak a little bit on, and it's going to be more on water. So that seems to be our biggest concern with the data centers. So we don't actually have an accurate number for the amount of water that data centers actually use. Texas Scoreboard article from October 13th, 2025 states that the Texas Water Development Board uses self-reported data from surveys submitted by data centers to forecast future water usage and to draft water demand projections for the regional and state water supply planning process. Casey Woodrum, a TWDB spokesperson, reported that there is no state government authority that maintains a comprehensive list of data centers in the state. At the time, she estimated there are approximately 350 to 400 data centers across the state. This was confirmed to Texas Scoreboard from Assistant Secretary of State for Communications. She stated her agency does not have the information. According to TWDB, the agent sent out an estimated 70 surveys to data centers in 2024, asking how much groundwater and surface water they use each month and who was supplying it. Of the 70, only 18 data centers responded. The TWDB does not collect data on cooling system types and have only limited information regarding them. As a result, they aren't able to determine the amount of water that is used in these closed loop systems. Cooling systems are not the only water that is consumed by data centers. According to researchers, most, but not all, electricity generation from coal, natural gas, and nuclear sources, which accounted for 70% of Texas electricity in 2024, that requires water consumption through evaporation during cooling processes. The article reports that researchers found the national average of indirect water consumption for data centers in 2023 was 4.52 liters
You have
per
30 seconds.
kilowatt hour. Compared with the average American water intensity factor for electricity usage of 4.35 liters per kilowatt hour. The International Energy Agency estimates, the demand of large data centers. Okay, I'm going to skip over that. So basically, my question is, which state agency provided the numbers for the water usage? And I didn't get to finish. I have.
That's okay. What state agency provided that? You remember?
So actually it was Evergreen that provided the numbers that they have for detail. It's up to the data center if they build something to come up with the number they're going to use. It's not us. It's a pre-planned deal.
So just to clarify, the amount that the data centers are projected to use, we did not provide that because we do not have that number. But
Okay.
I will say that it is one
Okay.
of the charges that is going on for the Senate and the House, as their charges, interim charges for this next legislative session. So if you're watching that, talking to your representatives is going to be effective. You know, it is something that is on everyone's mind.
Okay.
And exactly right. None of us know. We're giving you the best facts we can. Everything that's provided to us and we've been able to find and research with every one of these people here and talk to them, plus the information that we've been able to get from the data center builders, we've asked them for. Yeah. Some of this I've been out of pocket and they've had to put this together.
Yeah, so, and she answered everything for the others, be it Turfgrass, San Miguel. Those
need
are
to
all
start moving
local
on some
wells
of
that I
these,
went
so-
on to their
so we need to
website,
start moving
pulled
on
the
some of
well
these. I'm
numbers
gonna
and
try
did
to
a public information
interrupt a little
request
more.
to get those specific wells.
Got
As
a whole
far as
bunch
the
of them.
data center numbers, those numbers were provided to us and the emails are out there from TEG as they're anticipated and were very much in line with what Rowan has provided to Medina County and Lytle on their hyperscale. That's a little bit larger, but it's about virtually the same numbers. So.
Okay, I'm gonna go on to another online question. Some of these questions are starting to get repetitive. I'm gonna go ahead and read them, and then we're gonna move on because they've been answered, okay? Because we're already running short on time, and I want to make sure everybody gets to be heard here. Rita Wade Worthy. I'm writing to formally voice my opposition to any proposed data centers or BESS projects. As a resident of Atascosa County, I am deeply concerned that our local public safety infrastructure is completely inadequate to handle these unique, high-risk fire emergencies. We do not have the manpower, resources, training, or expertise to respond to them safely. I have been trying for over a year to get the city of Pleasanton to get the outdoor warning siren system up and running, and to my knowledge, no other city in Atascosa besides Lytle regularly tests or has a working system. And just last month, Jernton was under a tornado warning, and residents had no outdoor warning system to alert them. The current countywide alert system is inadequate and needs updating. How will the county mitigate this very important issue? So that one was already answered previously, the previous online question by Mr. Ponza. So we're gonna go ahead and move on from that one. The next in-person question is Cheyenne Yalls. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. Cheyenne Yalls, I'm sorry. Welcome, Ms. Yalls.
I am Cheyenne Yaws. I live at 1697 Texas, 1691 Texas 97 in Durrington, Texas. I am a 19-year-old college student majoring in wildlife and wildlife conservation. I'm here today to speak on behalf of all the animals that don't know what is going to happen and cannot speak for themselves. In Atascosa County, we have over 1,300 species and more than 40 of them are threatened or endangered. Either they call this place their home or they rely on this area as part of their migration. The federal government can no longer protect them due to Trump's administration passing a rule that revoked nearly all habitat protections for endangered species. So it's up to cities and counties to step up and protect them. Our state reptile, the Texas horned lizard, is a threatened species that conservationists are working on breeding and reintroducing them like the San Antonio Zoo. They have been facing habitat loss and are very sensitive to pollution that is a direct byproduct of natural gas power that this data center is planning on using. Data centers emit a constant humming sound that can be heard from hundreds of feet around them. And not only can we hear it, but animals that rely on hearing and can hear much better than us also can be greatly affected by this. All animals are affected by this exposure, causing elevated stress, weakened immune systems, and reduced reproductive stress. Even like the farmer that has been reporting stillborn calves ever since a data center was constructed nearby, our surrounding farmers will see a negative effect on their livestock. Research has been done linking noise levels above 50 to 60 decibels, which is in the range of a data center, to disruptions in honeybee communications and foraging behaviors. Overall, the results show that high noise pollutions above 60 decibels negatively impacts honeybee colonies, including formaldehyde, HCHO, a widespread air pollutant emitted from traffic and industrial activities like natural gas generators being used. It is linked to causing respiratory and oxidative stress in insects, which can impair foraging efficiencies and overall colony performance. While particulate matter, PM, from air pollution can gather in honeybees' bodies, interfering with bee orientation and foraging behavior. AI related emissions are expected to contribute 4.8 to 15.4 gigatons of cumulative global carbon dioxide emissions, increasing temperatures from between 32.0047 Fahrenheit and 32.051 Fahrenheit. This could result in a loss of an estimated 3.5 to 14.1 million bees per year from heat stress.
You have 30 seconds.
All wildlife will be affected by data centers, and I wasn't able to get into more detail. And they will be affected by this one. To my community, I am on the Pleasant Endurance chat where I see AI posters and ones hanging in our community. If we want to make a change, it starts with every single one of us. We don't need generative AI. We need to use our own creativity like we used to.
Thank you, Ms. Wells. Thank you. All right, this is the last online question from Ashley Nicole Zavala. Judge Coote, this one's in 4 parts. Some of it, I'll go through it, but some of it's been answered. I'm an Atascosa County landowner. I'm unable to attend the July 7th community meeting regarding a proposed data center northwest of Jordanton, and I request the following questions be addressed at the meeting, that this email be retained as part of the county's correspondence record on this matter. Question number 1 about water. What cooling design is proposed, evaporative, closed loop, or air cooled? We have no answer for that one. It's up to the builder. What is the projected annual water draw in acre feet and from what source? Again, no answer for that. It's up to the builder. Has any application been filed with the Evergreen Underground Water Conservation District? That would be yours. Again.
Not only a doctor, you're a queen.
We have not received an application for a data center.
Thank you. Question number 2, power and air. Will the site include on-site natural gas generation or diesel backup generators?
It depends on the builder.
What are the projected NOx and particulate emissions, and which TCEQ permits will be required?
I can give you TCEQ's number again.
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned, they can be thrown under the bus as far as they get.
All right.
You know that, right?
Yes, sir. All right, number 3, tax money. Will the developer seek property tax abatements or economic development agreements from the county or any school district?
We have not been asked for a tax abatement or any kind of program whatsoever.
And then the second part of that question, will those hearings be publicly noticed with opportunity for comment?
Absolutely.
Question number 4, will the county commit to notifying residents before any agreement is signed rather than after, given that neighboring Medina County officials repeatedly learned of data center projects only after commitments were underway?
We'll be glad to notify anybody anything, but we don't know anything. If they could change hands and us not know anything.
Okay, and that's all the questions from this one. For the record, I'm stating now before any agreement exists that the burden of proof on water draw, emissions, and noise belongs to the developer, not on residents to prove harm after construction. If any abatement is considered, I request binding enforceable conditions on cooling design and water sourcing Please add me to any notification list for updates on this project. From Ashley Nicole Zavala, out of Pleasanton, Texas. All right, and that's it with the online questions. All the rest of them are going to be in person. Sir.
Those agreements have to go through Commissioners Court. We have Commissioners Court the second and fourth Monday of the month. The agenda is posted now the Wednesday before. We have to post it. So our agenda deadline for the 13th was today at noon. It'll be posted tomorrow at 9 a.m. on our website. All of our Commissioners Court meetings are on YouTube. You can watch them live. You can't comment. You can't do that live, but you can email your comments to the county judge's office. You can come and do a public comment, but those hearings, those agreements, all of those things that affect your tax money go through Commissioners Court. So they would have to do that in order to be signed. So we're not going to put it in the Pleasanton Express, but the Pleasanton Express promotes items that are of public interest on our agenda. And we are required by state law, and we follow that law, and we post our agendas. So if you have concerns, you need to check the agenda and see if there's something on there that you would like to come and speak about. You can also contact your commissioner for your precincts. They're up here, as the judge said, they have open door policy. Contact the county judge's office, and they will get you in touch with them if you have questions.
Yes. Okay, the next in-person speaker, number 11, Arthur Trail. Hello, Mr. Trail. Fantastic, sir. Get it up.
Many years ago, I stepped forward to the Evergreen and told them we need to do a geologic study of the aquifers in this county. And we did. I spent $39,000 of my own dollars doing that. They finally rebated it after we talked to the governor. Rebated that. But I found out in doing that study that what you need to do when you're looking at geology is to go to the field and study those rocks in the field. Electric logs, Hargis did the Hargis report, which was a very good subsurface report. But to know the relationships between those beds, you need to go into the field and study them. I spent 3 years of my life in southern Bexar County studying the contact between the Carrizo aquifer and the Wilcox. And so I have done some recent work on that here. I've been working on it lately.
Mr. Trail.
Showing the relation, the relationship of the Carrizo to the Wilcox. Now, some people would want to say, you want to go right to the Wilcox and start pumping out water and using water out of the Wilcox. You can't do that because you lower the pressure in the Wilcox, and there are places where that can leak down when you lower that pressure. So you got to be real careful of that. How do we know that? We know that because of the Queen City is a shallow aquifer, and the U.S. federal government, U.S. Department of Geology told us that the last thing to go is going to be the Carrizo. We'll drain the Queen City before we get to the Carrizo because it will leak down. My other question to you, and this is a question to you. When are we going to start metering wells? I know it's going to be a poison deal. We need to meter wells. You estimate the production now. I looked at the numbers up there. I can't believe those numbers because there's some problems with it. So we're having trouble with water everywhere. You know it. I know it. Everybody does. We're going to have to step forward and meter those wells. The High Plains Aquifer District in West Texas does it because they're having the water problems. So we need to too. And I thank you for your work on that. If you will do that, you will be a big help to the citizens of this county. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Trail. You want to answer that?
you, Mr. Trell. So let's address metering. So the district rules do require that permitted wells are metered and that annual production or monthly production depending on the type of permit that you have is submitted. So our rules require it. Now here's the dirty little secret. Only 75% of our irrigation permits submitted reports last year. Less than 50% of our industrial permits submitted last year. Our staff calls up a permittee. Hey, where's your reports? Yeah, I'll get them. We call again. We send second notices, third notices. We do our level best to get those numbers up, and we have made amazing strides in the past 2 years to improve our reporting numbers. But we have to have cooperation from the well owners to get the production reports in and get their meters installed. For our irrigators, we just received a grant from the Texas Water Development Board. Thank you for the funding of $100,000 to help offset the cost of a meter. So if you have a well and you don't have a meter, come talk to us. Let's get a meter installed so you can meet the district guidelines and fulfill those rules. And I would like to also mention the science investments that the district has historically done, and we are reinvesting in. The board of directors for the Evergreen recently approved commitments from our reserve fund of $1.2 million to conduct hydrogeological studies and redo our models that give us the projections for what's going to happen in the future. We just signed contracts for the first phase to do a modeling project to redo the models that are going to feed into the state program for the Queen City, the Wilcox, the Carrizo, Yewa Jackson, and Sparta. There's actually quite a number of aquifers throughout our jurisdiction, over a dozen. And we are making the key investments now so that we can understand scientifically what our stressors are going to be in the future.
Thank you. I'm going to go on to another online question. So I had 1 page of online questions and I didn't see the back. There was 3 more back here. So I have 3 more back here. The next one's from Jamie Pollock. Hers is a 2-part question. Are county officials allowed to enter NDAs?
No,
No.
we have not and will not.
And then the second part, okay, in the second part of that question, if so, why is it okay to conceal plans? So the answer was no, so it's no. Okay. So that answers both questions. Okay. The next in-person question, number 12 from Dustin Manfield. Is that correct, Manfield? Yes, sir. Hello, Mr. Manfield.
Good evening. My name is Dustin Manifield. I live at 1039 County Road 339 in Jordanton. I'm an electrical engineer for a transmission distribution co-op. I started working in Atascosa County 9 years ago, and I got a job at San Miguel. And I moved my family here from New Braunfels 8 years ago. One thing I noticed right away, and that has continued to hold true for me, is this county is full of hardworking, well-mannered people. I like that, and I intend to stay here the rest of my days, and I hope when my kids grow up, they will do the same. I've done a little research on data centers and some of the concerns. I want to share what I found. There's 66 counties that use the Carrizo for their groundwater resource. If you average the last 15 years available data from the Texas Water Development Board, Atascosa County uses 40 million gallons a day. The total usage by all counties is harder to determine, but it looks like we use about 15% of it. The recharge rate shows to be between 22 to 63 million gallons a day. If a data center uses closed loop cooling, the daily water usage might be in the tens of thousands, and that's for the building facilities, not from cooling, but nowhere near in the millions. Even if it was in the hundreds of thousands a day, it would not be enough to move the needle. So if a data center looking to come here intended to use closed loop cooling, the water consumption fear is based on fake news. Of the 40 million gallons a day we use in this county, 10% is from San Miguel. Another 23% is mining operations, which includes the San Miguel mine. The point is, if and when San Miguel closes, we will see a massive decline in our water consumption. But if, and hopefully when, a data center comes online in our county, we will see practically no meaningful increase in our water consumption. We will see a meaningful increase in tax revenue and permanent job creation, though. Now, for an aspect I'm more personally interested in, and that is our electric grid reliability. A recent Department of Energy report shows that Texas is at a steadily increasing risk for blackouts. The risk could be as much as 100 times greater by 2030. This is largely due to shutting down dispatchable generation and replacing it with intermittent non-dispatchable wind and solar. On top of being non-dispatchable, wind and solar do not have the real and reactive power output flexibility of a synchronous power plant. This means they are useless for voltage and frequency support. This is a factual result of policy decisions. Our grid is less reliable. We have worked ourselves into a hole, and regulations will not protect us from the laws of physics. But data centers that are co-locating generation
You have
are
30
choosing
seconds.
thermal synchronous generation because it works. And that is great news for grid reliability. We need more combined cycle natural gas plants and nuclear plants. And if the data centers are going to build them, then good on them. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Manafield. Next online question is from Brenda Shoemaker. We won't have enough water. We won't have enough electricity. We can't even get a road fix in this town, and they're looking to put in a data center. Come on, people, use your heads. And what about the people living next to this loud, noisy thing? Did you ask us if we cared? No. Do y'all care? I'm wondering. Why don't you stick to the basics for the town? Something for the kids to do, like a roller skate building, more parks to fix roads. We have something that's useful to the community, and we all would benefit from, not a data center. Put that in another country. We don't need it. We don't have the water, electricity. People, even if you make your own, you're stealing from us. You gotta be, end of story. There's no question there. So we'll move on to the next in-person question. Cecilia Castellano. Hello, Ms. Castellano.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Cecilia Castellano, and I want to set the foundation tonight, not with fear, but with facts. I'm a resident of Atascosa County, and I'm here today because our community deserves to understand how we got here and what we can do to protect our future. Data centers did not just appear by accident in Texas. Over the years, state laws created incentives that made Texas attractive to these massive projects. Now, everybody write down these House bills and Senate bills. In 2013, the Texas legislature passed House Bill 1223, which created sales and use tax exemptions for qualified data centers. That allowed certain data centers to avoid paying taxes on major equipment like servers, cooling systems, electrical systems, power infrastructure, and software. In 2023, the legislature passed House Bill 5, also known as the Texas Job, Energy, Technology, and Innovation Act. This law created another incentive tool for large corporate projects by allowing certain tax limitations through school districts. Now in 2025, that was just last year, the legislature once again passed Senate Bill 6, which addressed large electric loads, including data centers using 75 megawatts or more. That tells us something important. The state of Texas already recognizes that these projects can be placed serious pressure on our electric grid. So now we have to ask if the state created the incentives and the state knows these projects impact the grid. Then where are the protections for communities like Atascosa County? This is not about being against technology. We all use technology. We understand that data centers are part of the future, but progress should not come without responsibility. Before any massive data center moves forward in Atascosa County, our residents deserve answers. How much water will it use? How much electricity will it demand? Will our utility rates be affected? Will our roads, emergency services, and local infrastructure be impacted? How many permanent local jobs will actually be created? And most importantly, who will pay the cost? Some people say a local moratorium cannot be done under current state law. But if that is true, then that is exactly why a special session must be held. The legislators created the incentives.
You have 30
Now the
seconds.
legislator must create the authority to pause and review these projects. My solution is simple to the state rep and the state senator that is here. Governor Abbott must call a special session so the Texas legislator can pause new data centers incentives and approvals until every proposed project is required to complete a full local impact study. Atascosa County also deserves local input before decisions are made. We're not against progress. We are against reckless growth.
Ms.
Thank you,
Castellano,
and you
your
have a
time's up.
voice in November to vote.
Thank you, Ms. Castellano. This next one is the actual last online question. From Chance Kutek. How will power be provided to the data center? Is it gas powered? How much water will be needed to convert the gas to usable energy? I think the answer to that is based on the builder, right? Okay, and then how will tax revenue be used to service the residents of the county? Don't know until, yes. Okay, so that's it with the online questions. The next in-person question will be speaker number 14, Marion Knowlton. You didn't ask any questions, you made statements.
They were all project specific. None of that
Correct.
can be answered until we know the size of the project and where it's going to be.
Ms. Knowlton, it's your time now.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. If I can get this to work, am I
There you
working?
go. You got it. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Marion Knowlton, and I live at 305 Inwood in Poteet. I'm here to talk about, and actually, I'll start with addressing a quote from Ms. Solis, that statutory authority we have right now. Texas does not have statewide zoning. Each city establishes its own zoning regulations. Counties typically oversee plating requirements for subdivisions. And I confirmed this with rural development. They were very helpful and professional. And we approved permits for septic tanks, water wells, and now driveways for 9/11 purposes, 9/11 dresses. Texas is primarily considered a limited, no zoning state where counties lack broad land use authority. And this is often guided by the Dillon Rule. And the effect is that unincorporated rural areas may have almost no zoning regulations. Texas is famous for this. Cities have more power than counties, whose powers are limited. Now, I'm a real estate broker, and I've been in real estate for over 40 years, and I believe in private property rights. But the purpose of zoning is to govern how land use can be used to include protection of property values and public welfare. Many states in the United States have rural zoning, to include Illinois. Rural counties often allow more flexible land use than cities, but they still regulate building types, setbacks, agriculture use, etc., open space, and community character. Atascosa County would benefit from cohesive, informed land management to protect our communities from conversion to non-farm uses. You may not be able to enact a moratorium, but you have ways, and you could make it cost prohibitive for these groups coming in. I would like to suggest that our state representatives, Mr. Flores and Mr. McLaughlin, consider legislation initiative to protect the open spaces and community character of Atascosa County. Florida has initiated statutes that the county government holds and enforces zoning authority over rural unincorporated lands. We need this in Texas. I would ask the Commissioners Court to consider a commission that might review these centers coming in. I see that. And set up a review and include private citizens who would be appointed from Rotaries, Chambers of Commerce, churches. Bring the private citizens in who are not appointed, but they're prominent and working citizens in the county.
There are enough questions by the public that the Commissioners Court should demand answers to the citizens' questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Knowlton. Our next speaker is number 15, Patsy Trail. Hello, Ms. Trail. You grab me.
Good evening. Weldon, Judge Cood, Commissioners, Senator Flores, Representative McLaughlin. First of all, I want to thank Weldon, Judge Cood. I've known these people too long. I know their mothers very well. And I've known your children. They went through high school here. My husband's family's been here since the 1900s. Helped develop Pleasanton, helped develop this county. And one thing I can tell you as a young girl, I swam in the Atascosa County River in clean water. Why is it not flowing? It's growth. Water's finite, people. It will not be here forever. By the way, I live at 7035 County Road 426 on the Old Trail Ranch. All right, so we know it's finite. We know we need to depend on the evergreen to protect it. And we know they need restrictions. Senator, Representative, that falls in your bailiwick. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been told plain, go to Austin. I've been involved where we took a bus to Austin, preferably a lot of women. Right, Senator Flores? Exactly. But we do need to do something. We know the county's hands are tied. We know Evergreen is trying, and we will stay on them. Sorry. Representative McLaughlin, Senator Flores, we're dependent on you. But county, what you can do is be our voice. Please let these people know this county does not want data centers. We value our water. We value our quality of life. And all of this has been very interesting, documented, but I have one more for you and I will sit down. There is research about data center water usage. It's out there, you have to look for it. From the state of Florida, their Water Control Board and Pollution Control. In Florida, current data centers, depending on their size, and they are different size, so they have different usages, use from a few million,
I think we can cover them all.
excuse me, gallons to over 1.5 billion yearly. State of Texas. Research by the Lincoln Research Center on Land Policy, excuse me. All right, in Texas, right now, current data centers are projected to use up to 49 billion gallons of water yearly.
Your time's up, Ms. Trail. Thank you, Ms. Trail, very much. Folks, it's 8 o'clock. We have 9 questions left. I'm going to go ahead and let those questions come through so we can get as many questions and comments as possible. That's what we're here for, right? So that's what we're going to do. Mr. Vasquez, Nick Vasquez, you're up. Hello, Mr. Vasquez. You got the mic there?
I got the mic. Can y'all hear me?
Yes,
Everything
sir.
okay?
Can hear you clear.
Thank you. All right. Well, thank you all. And where to begin? A lot of questions have been answered. A lot of questions have been asked. So I want to talk about 2 things. We've talked the water to death. We've talked the water to death. You know, we know water is going to be a big issue with these things. We all know that. What I haven't heard of talked about is the health effects of these data centers. And there's a reason why those aren't being discussed. It's because there are no studies, there are no research on that topic. And the reason why is because if you look at the Texas Water Board Commission, if you look at the Congress, they all say these data centers do not submit survey data. Going back to the health, you know, I know we're a private property state, but if you burn a bunch of tires, you know, you're gonna get a call from the county. So with that topic, sorry.
No, no, you're good.
Okay. So we don't have the health studies. My question is, another thing that was brought up was the tax revenue. You know, that data and the water data was brought to us by the data centers. You know, there's no official, am I correct on that one? That's another question, like who projected that tax revenue? Tax revenue and the health. You know, how do you put a price on health? Does anyone here have a price for their health? No, there's no price. I wouldn't spend $10 million to have my health gone. My question is for the legal counsel, Ms. Molly. Let me listen. Have we done everything creative possible? Because I know Hayes County, I know we use Hill Country or Hills County as an example, as a warning. Don't try to stop these things, you'll get sued. But Hayes County has put a stop to these things until December. Can we look at something like that? Have we exhausted every creative avenue is what I'm asking. So yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, so that's the question. Go ahead and answer.
So it's my understanding that City of San Marcos. Again, cities can do moratoriums. They are very procedural and strict guidelines. You have to have a reason why you need one. You have to be very specific that you're going to implement a new fire code. You're going to do a study for the water usage, study for electrical. It starts out with public hearings. And if it passes its 90 days, then you can ask for one extension for 180 days, and then you can't do it again for 2 years for that same project or that same type of moratorium. So that is, like I said, cities have more usage, like Ms. Knowlton said, they have more ability to zone than we do. We don't have zoning out in the county. We do have a subdivision regulations, rural development office, and we do work with TCEQ, even though they're not here. We do work with TCEQ on quite a few things. We also have an environmental officer that does regulate what we can as far as public health, safety, and welfare, the health and safety code. We do what we can with the statutes that we have.
Okay, hold on, Mr. Vasquez. To be courteous to everybody's time, if you would just, let's go ahead and do this. We need to be courteous to everybody's time here, so we'll move on to the next one. Raina Kent Patel. Hello, Mr. Patel. Welcome.
Can anyone hear me?
Yes, sir.
So, my name is Dedas Patel. I address 1917 West Oak Lawn, Pleasanton, Texas. Okay. So my family runs the Best Western and the Super that you might see driving down 97. That might point some fingers and say like, okay, I see where this is going. I want to be here for everyone and paint a bigger picture that I feel like we're not really painting here, right? So we were here for the frack boom, and we were here for the bust for the frack. It was very much so just as beneficial as just as painful. Like my parents have been here. I grew up here. I'm Pleasanton, born and raised. You know, I wear my heart on my sleeve.
Mr. Patel.
Sorry, right here.
Yes, sir.
I grew up here, born here, raised here. I put my heart on my sleeve as small town Texas kid, right? So we feel the pain whenever money leaves the town. We still pay our employees. We pay a tax. People don't really realize this. You pay a tax for a salary. So me to give you a wage, I have to pay a tax. But we don't complain. We don't complain. We understand that that's the cost of doing business. We pay everything for years. Good business, bad business, we pay proportionally every time, years. Okay? So we understand whenever the money in the town doesn't come, we understand when money in the town does come. We feel it. It's just like everybody else, probably even worse in downtimes.
No, that's
So-
keep going.
So first, I kind of wanted to address the power, and I got these from the source, the developers for said quote unquote energy ranch. So I'm not sure, if you can quote me, we can find the website together, we can walk over to the side. But these are from the source. This is what they said. This is what the developers have claimed publicly. So first, the power. They build their own generation on the site. So behind the meter, it's under Texas law. It's passed Senate Bill 6, which was last year in 2025. Big loads, like they're expecting 250 megawatts. That is on their own dime. They're not covering, we're not expected to cover anything as a county, as a town, if it does happen here. We're not expected to cover anything. Our energy bills don't go up 1 penny. They're covering every single penny for their consumption. They're putting everything down for themselves, right? Second, the water. They've said publicly that they're going to do closed loop. And a little bit of closed loop, I'll make it quick. Everything is in essentially a closed loop. What happens is you have metal, which is the computer. It gets really hot whenever it's working. Now you have cold water that touches like the backside of the bare metal to retrieve all that heat out of it, right? Now that water turns hot. So the water goes up into another pipe, into another big tank where it gets cooled down by fans, just like ACs. And then when that water gets cooled down, it goes back into the thing and touches metal again. It never gets exposed to the air. It never gets exposed. Now you might think, oh, where's this water coming from? They said they're going to take the treated water that came from the fracking stuff first. That's their priority. They're going to take the water from the byproduct of all the frack before they even
Mr.
try to
Patel,
touch the public water. That's what they said publicly.
Okay, your time is up, Mr.
Thank
Patel.
you.
Thank you so much for
I
explaining
just
that.
wanted to
Yes,
make
sir.
that point where, because we just don't get the information, or it doesn't seem that our council, to be honest, has gotten the information that it's even on the internet. They said. So I just wanted to make that case that
Thank
our questions are being addressed.
Yes,
maybe
sir.
not here, but on the internet. We just have to look it up.
Thank you for explaining, sir. All right, next, Mark Pinkston. Hello, Mr. Pinkston.
Hello, good evening. First, I want to say thank you to the commissioners. Thank you to our legislators here, our senators, and folks with the utilities through the PUC that are making significant headways to address a lot of the problems that Texas is experiencing, as well as the nation is experiencing on a national level. My address is 6 Oak Valley in Pleasanton, Texas. I'm actually the District 3 City Council member. I'm Mr. Flores' representative there. Some of the struggles that we hit on a local level are budget constraints. We're going through that in Pleasanton right now. And we are running currently a 4x debt ratio to what our municipal budget is. So on a $16.5 million budget, and we're running over $60 million in debt, that is a huge, significant number. And so what municipalities should be doing is looking for big industry leaders that can come in at times. We want to keep the small town feel, but you also have to solve that problem. So I also welcome and thank the public for being here as well to solve the problem, at least in our town. And I've told this to residents, we have 3,250 homes in our town, in our city, with 11,500 residents there. Unless we're all willing to stand out by our mailbox and write a check for $18,000 to pay off our debt, and the mailman can run down the street and pick up that check from every one of us, that debt is not going away. And these are revolving 30, 40-year terms. So to address that and to go on into some of the just bigger statewide constraints that we're experiencing, in 2020, the population in Texas was 29 million. By 2040, they're saying it's going to be 40 million. So that influx is not just with big business, it's with transplants coming to Texas, 10,070 per day. 726 of those-ish are domestic transplants from other parts of the country. The delta in that, or the other 350, are coming across the border as migration, at which 1,254 miles of our southern border is in Texas. So the only way to combat some of those things, and the growth is to the gentleman. I work in power. I consult in power. I've been doing it for over 25 years. I've done a lot of work with the AEP. They're making significant capital investments in our infrastructure. Bringing some of these enterprises into smaller communities can be a good thing. I'm not saying I'm not picking a side. What I'm saying is educate yourself on the facts. Mr. Manifold, I echo what some of you said. I would much rather have an entity that is going to be a high tax revenue entity with a low traffic impact. What I mean by that is bringing in millions of dollars in tax revenue with very low traffic rate versus a big distribution center or something to that effect. And to solve on some of these data centers that are coming, they are solving their own problems. You can't make $1 billion investment without having fire suppression and all of these things. If you want those items, ask for those. I welcome, and I'll end on that.
Thank you.
I'm the first city council member to put my phone number on the city website. Call me. You can ask me any question you want.
Thank you, Mr. Pinkston. Next up, we got Justin Kelly. Welcome, Mr. Kelly.
Hello, I'm Justin Kelly. I live at 211 Red Dirt Road. I had a speech prepared, but I think we pretty much covered all of the stuff so far. So as far as the water info, I mean, just some quick searches. I see that a lot of that data that you put up there was inaccurate, but we've already touched on that. So I won't get into it too much. Things that we haven't touched on is increase in crime just during the construction phases. Oftentimes, large construction increases small communities like this by 10 to 40% in crime increases due to fights, gun violence, drugs, and prostitution. I mean, most of these construction, just for the road renovation in 281, we're getting a crew from, where do you say, Nevada, Arizona? I mean, these crews are going to come from out of state as well. I'm part of the Samsung project up in Taylor. It's the same thing. They're coming from all over the United States. Once the construction is done, the low employment, I mean, usually you're rating between 20 to 100 employees on site, usually between security, managerial staff, and, most of all the employment of the data center, they're saying 80 to 90% is off site, working through their computers and stuff. And then on top of that, what is looking like a trend of following these data centers is the micronuclear facilities that are coming in, especially like in Abilene. They're bringing in 30 micronuclear facilities. Do we really want nuclear in our community? Not to say that I agree. Nuclear probably is the most energy efficient and environmentally friendly. This doesn't mean we want it in our backyard, sad to say. They said that we weren't able to do a assessment of what the future property values will be once it comes in. I think when you get a crowd like this trying to oppose it, I think you can pretty much assume that property values are going to go down just because nobody wants it. Everyone I called today just to see if they were coming, only one out of about 15 people that I call even knew about this going on tonight. And everyone that I talked to said they didn't want it. So, I mean, I think the overwhelming jointness of everyone's ability to see that nobody wants these things in our backyard. The other thing is, what are these facilities actually for? I mean, we have the internet, we have ChatGPT. We've been using all these things for years. Why do we need such an increase all of a sudden of data centers? It's for mass surveillance, mass control over us. I don't want to sound like, Chicken Little, the sky's falling, but it is what it is. They're surveilling us at all times with block cameras, and there's going to be more.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Kathy Pavelic. Hello, Ms. Pavelic.
Good afternoon.
Good evening, yes, ma'am. Can you grab the mic, the microphone?
We are farmers and ranchers here in Atascosa County. My son has now taken over our ranch. We have visited some ranches out in West Texas. That is near data centers. Cattle, the mothers are slipping calves left and right. Calves are being born dead. Cattle are losing weight. I'm saying they're not hardly even eating out there. Guys, this is serious. This is really serious. I have a USDA meat shop on our ranch. I sell natural beef, no antibiotics, no hormones, all natural. If one of our cattle go into that USDA plant and gets tested, and it gets tested with some kind of bad deal, it gets what? What happens to that animal? Yes, we do not get to process that animal. That animal is not healthy for someone to eat. I do not know how to say this. I'm not for it. Because if it comes behind our ranch, we might as sell out. Because what they're seeing out in West Texas is the cattle are dying within a 13-mile radius. What is this going to do to our wildlife also? My last question, and this is to all the county commissioners and our judge. Do you want a data center in Atascosa County? Yes or no? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pavelli. I'm gonna do that as a statement, not a question. Correct.
Let me respond to that. We don't know the facts of what's coming. We have not seen anything, a proposal to us. So I'm not going to say yes or no to something I don't know about. Until I know more about it, I'm not going to answer the
I'll be
question.
happy to answer on behalf of Atascosa County Commissioner Precinct 1, myself as an individual. I do not want them.
Mark Bowen, Atascosa County Precinct 2. I do not want them.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Precinct 4, I need more information. I'll be real honest with you. I don't know. I'm like Weldon. I want to know more about it. Haven't been in favor of them, and I'm neutral at this point. Free country.
George Pavelli, Commissioner Precinct 3. And it's got to be neutral with it all the way. We know that all the citizens don't want it, so we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Let me add to that. So we've seen a lot of this same type of opposition when San Miguel came in back in the day. I guarantee you. And until we know all the facts, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to listen and pay attention. And if I don't do that, I'm not doing my job. And I'm going to be fair to both sides and listen to it. I'm not going to say yes or no.
Okay. Thank you, Judge. We're going to go ahead and move on to the next question. Patrick Hurley. Hello, Mr. Hurley. Can you grab the microphone? The microphone right there. There you go.
My name's Pat Hurley. I live at 1902 Tessman Road in Pleasanton. I'm a fifth generation of my family to live in Atascosa County. The drop in our water table is nothing new. As a child, and I can assure you I haven't been a child in a long time. Riding with my grandfather, North Poteet, going across Palo Alto Creek. I asked him if there'd ever been any water in that creek. He said, your little mama learned to swim in this creek. But when the wells quit flowing north of us, the creek quit running. Well, that was 65 or 70 years ago. Hate to tell my age. And the wells quit flowing then. And that was way before fracking, grass farms, oil industry, the saws pulling all our water out of our recharge area. And so it's nothing new. Somebody made the statement to me, said, well, God has a plan. We're only included in God's plan when we include Him in ours. So it's my prayer that in future discussions and decisions that we lean on Him for wisdom and for guidance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hurley. Thomas Flake. Thomas Flake. Hope I'm saying that right. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and move on. Leila M. Siska Gomez. Leila M. Siska Gomez. I'm going to go ahead and move on. Rudy Rubio. I'm sorry, Rudy Rubio. Sorry about that, Mr. Rubio. How are you?
My name is Rudy Rubio, with 4733 East State Highway 97, Precinct 4. And my comments are repetitive, but they're not meant to be adversarial. The main concern, it seems, here this evening is about pollution, about noise pollution, light pollution, water pollution, and property devaluation. Oil refineries, they're good. We need them. Everybody wants gasoline in their cars, but I don't want an oil refinery next door to me. Sand plant, sure. Everybody needs sand plant. Wastewater treatment plant, I don't want one next door to me, but we need wastewater treatment plants. How about a Buc-ee's? Buc-ee's in Atascosa County, sure. Everybody wants one. I don't want it next door to me. Disney Park, yeah, not next door to me. Anyway, so this is, I guess I'm being selfish about it, but yeah, we need energy and we need data centers. I just don't want one next door to me. I know for a fact, just from experience, CPS Energy, for example, this on the side, receives 2 100 coal carloads per day from Wyoming, and I think to myself, what does Wyoming look like? Because they've been doing this for years. So as a strategy, I ask that we delay on construction of these data centers. In the past, everybody remembers what a calculator looked like back in the 60s or in the 50s. It was probably the size of this room, little $10 calculator today. And you needed another room to provide cooling for the electronics, the tubes that would power that vacuum cleaner, that calculator. And you need another room for the power to come in and power that. And now it's just a $10 calculator. It's just in your pocket. So electronics gets smaller, gets more efficient. It gets, more effective, more effective. So as a strategy, I asked that we delay, perhaps it would just, as a strategy. I'm not, unlike Mr. Patel and others here in this room, I was not born here. My wife and I were not born here. We've been here for 4 years. We're newbies. We weren't raised here, but we intend to die here, and we'd like for that, and hopefully not today, but anyway. I ask that the officials here, the data centers, when they come, they will come, will be here after I'm gone, after the county courts, all the officials are gone. They'll still be here. I ask that we be good guardians of Atascosa County for the sake of our children, for ourselves, and our grandchildren. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rubio. That's it with the online questions and the in-person questions that were filled out at the beginning. Again, like I said, when I started, born and raised in Atascosa County, it's an honor for me to be here tonight and serve you as a moderator. Thank you for being courteous. Thank you for being polite to each other. I appreciate it more than you know. I'll give it, hold on, don't leave. I'm giving it to Judge Cood now. Thank you.
So a couple of things real quick before we house cleaning things. Senator Flores, Representative McLaughlin, and David Emery with the City of Lytle would like to make a few remarks real quick. And if you would, just please give them time, let them give.
Judge, thank you. First of all, I want to say thank you very much for being here tonight. And what, I learned a lot tonight. I'm sure you all learned a lot tonight. But that's that to me, that's the beauty of our constitutional republic, is when we can get together and speak our minds and speak that's the beauty of America and Texas. And I hold it as a great honor and privilege to represent you in the Senate. But you're exactly right, Ms. Solis, that we got to hear from you, because we're hearing from all kinds. I mean, I represent 13 counties, got 1 million people, but the data center issue is something that's uniform across my district, and so we need to know the facts. The Senate and the House are holding it as an interim item, which means that the Lieutenant Governor and the Speaker have made them a priority for the 90th session. So those committees are learning about data centers and learning about the tax abatement, for example. I serve on Senate Finance, and will be that issue on the taxes that they're getting, that they're not paying for all those supplies and things that to build these centers. That bill will be filed by Senator Joe Huffman, and we intend to eliminate that tax abatement. I can say that in the Senate Republicans will be taking action to remove that. But it is a big item. Please, notify our office of your concerns. My Chief of Staff, Harold Stone, is here as well. And we want to hear from you as we move forward towards the 90th session. And Lord willing, we'll come out with something that is best for our communities. I represent you. I live here. This is my home county. But your voice is what's important. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. Senator, Representative.
Well, I would echo what Senator Flores said. We have a lot of work to do on this. As a freshman legislator, I introduced a bill 3578, House Bill 3578, that would give counties, started on border counties, and then Representative Holt out of Silsbee, Texas, joined in with me to give counties some regulation over development in their counties. They are right when they tell you that right now. The only way they have the ability to regulate something in your county right now is by doing it through the fire marshal. Other than that, they have no ability to regulate. Cities do. I was the mayor of Uvalde for 10 years and just figured when I got to Austin that counties could do the same thing that cities could do. They can't. So, that's something that we need to fix. We introduced a bill. The chairman of the Land and Resources Management Committee would not hear the bill, would not let us read the bill. And we will introduce it again in the 90th session there. And to echo what Weldon said, he did call the TECQ, because he called me and gave me an earful because of the answers that he got from the TCEQ. So I called the TCEQ and I talked to the chief of staff of the head person at TCEQ, and then I talked to the head person of governmental affairs and was told they weren't coming, which is wrong. They're here to serve the citizens of Texas, and that is something that we will address, and I talked to Senator Flores about it already, that we will address. They should have been here to address some of the concerns you had and some of the questions. And like I said, we have a lot to study on this data center. I'm still trying to research information on it every day now. I'm going to do what's right for my district and the people in my district. So thank you very much for coming. Do what, Cecilia? I'm not going to get into a debate with you, Cecilia. I know you're running for this position and you want to do it, that's fine, but we'll have that discussion anywhere you want, but that's not what we're here for tonight. So, and I'll be happy to have that conversation with you. But again, thank you for coming, and God bless you and God bless Texas.
Okay, this is Mayor Pro Tem of Lytle. And Lytle has a data center going up just south of them that they're servicing on some stuff. I asked David, Mr. Emery, to come. He's been a great asset to this county in many, many ways. Actually got the Impact Citizen last year at the state of the county. All yours.
Good evening. It's my pleasure to be here with you tonight. As the judge said, I'm on the city council. I'm the mayor pro tem. So I'm very involved in what's going on with Project Cinco under Rowan Development. They are in Medina County, just west of us between the city of Lytle and the city of Natalia. They will be eventually coming into the city limits of Lytle under some agreements that we had because of sewage and the tax situation. So I can talk a little bit about how it worked with us. Some people have said here it's inevitable that development will come and probably data centers will come. So I can just tell you how it's gone for us. Some information on water usage because it's a big issue. I know some people said, oh, we doubt the numbers that have been put up. I'm going to give you the numbers from a data sheet that we got from Project Cinco, from the Rowan Development people. Their engineers came up with this number based on the size and capacity of the cooling system that will be going in the hyperscale center that they're putting in. So the cooling system initial fill is approximately 1.8 million gallons. It's a closed loop cooling system. And it will be good. In other words, they won't have to take the water out and refill it again for 10 to 15 years. There's no continuous water consumption going into this closed loop system. There will be domestic water use for the people who work there, and they estimate after the build out, which employs about 600 people, there will be 40 to 50 permanent people there working every day. They will use approximately 4,000 gallons of water, and by comparison, a typical restaurant uses about 7,000 gallons of water a day. Rowan has invested in the Edwards Aquifer because it's in the Edwards Aquifer Authority Groundwater Conservation Program with an offset water use by 250%. So they are investing in that water system there because of the water that they'll use, they'll take out of it. Cooling and water discharges are uncommon and are stored, tested, and discharged in accordance with regulations. So that answers some of the water questions. And again, their engineers come up with those numbers, so these are not pie in the sky numbers. This is what they said it will take to fill the system. Now, let me talk about some other things. Light pollution, when they came and talked to us, we asked that question, what about light pollution? They said there would be lighting on the corners of the building facing down for security purposes. There will not be lights flashed out into the community. There was a question about noise abatement. I had a driving tour of the facility last week when they did their top out. They put the final girder in the top of the main building that they're building. They have berms that they'll place strategically around the site. They also have vegetation barriers that they're going to put in and other landscaping. We had an issue up there, a question about what about water if there's big rain, because they've moved a lot of water around, a lot of dirt around in the area. They have a 20-acre water detention pond on site. So they're not going to be just dumping water out into the local runoff system. Some other things that they have done, and here's something I want to talk to the commissioners about. If it comes to the point that one's coming in and you have an opportunity to talk to them, this is a lesson I learned from my father. If you don't ask, you don't get. So we asked them, can we ask for things? And they said, sure, what do you want? We have a community called Coal Mine. That's a little bit west of the center of Lytle. It goes back about 110 years. There was actually a coal mine there. There is one road in and out of the coal mine community. And when you pull off of 132, the main street of Lytle, to turn into coal mine, you go right over a railroad track, and then you're in this little closed community of coal mine. We have been working for 110 years, according to historical records, and I know personally in the last 6 years since I've been on council, to try to find some land we can buy, some arrangement we can make to get another exit out of coal mine, an emergency exit. And we couldn't do it. We said to Rowan, if you're going to put this thing in, work with us. Your land butts up against the backside of coal mine community. They actually have 2 parcels of land, one that they're developing right now, one that they hope to develop in the future. This is the one that's not developed yet. And they said, what do you want? We said, we want a gate coming into that property. We want a developed road going across that property onto a county road. And they said, okay. And they're building it right now. And it's not just graded down and had gravel poured on it. It's a real road, like a county road. It's leveled, has a foundation, a base, and it has asphalt over top of it. So they're doing that for us because they want to be good neighbors. That's what they told us when they came in. We want to be good neighbors. Another thing that they're doing, we didn't particularly ask for it, but they said they're going to do it. They want to be a good partner in the community, and they want to be able to hire as many folks out of the community as possible. They hope to be there for a long time. So they said that they will invest in, help to fund STEM programs for Lytle High School and Natalia High School. STEM, if you're not familiar with that, that is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. This is an alternative to sending your kids off to college paying $90,000 a year and getting a degree in basket weaving, okay? This is real hands-on work because they know they're going to need plumbers and electricians, carpenters, maintenance people, electronics workers in that facility for years to come. So they are helping to fund these STEM programs in our 2 schools. Our school district will get a lot of tax money. The city will get some. Yes, we did give them an abatement, and it's public knowledge. You can go on the Cinco site and look that up. But we will get still quite a bit of tax money from it. The school in the first several years will get more than we will. It's in Medina County, but the high school, yeah, the high school is, no, Atascosa County's not. The high school is in Medina County. Elementary and primary are in Atascosa County. For those of you who don't know, Lytle's in 3 counties. The bulk of Lytle is in Atascosa County. We have some in Medina. It will get a little bit bigger now as we expand out into Project Cinco. And then we have some in Bear County that's also going to get bigger because we're expanding a little bit north. So these are some things that they're doing for us right now. They want to be good neighbors. One other thing, they heard that we do it 2 times a year city cleanup, where waste management, the people who take care of our trash, send out 4 big roll-off dumpsters, and we allow people to bring their stuff, and waste management takes it away, no charge to the citizens, just when you want to empty your garage or your storage building or something like that. And they said, well, how can we help with that? And we talked to them about the main street. And they said, well, we can help pick up trash, but how about if we offer to the businesses and the people who live along Main Street to paint the fronts of their buildings for them at our cost? We said, oh, cool. Go talk to the people. And they did. And they came back to us and they said, we're going to put that on a little bit of a delay because almost everybody wants us to do it. And they're going to do it. So they want to be good neighbors. This is not from the old days, a coal mine, copper mine, where they come in and they pollute the soil, they pollute the water, they dig a big hole in the ground, and then they run away and leave that mess. They want to work with us, and they're trying to work with us. And hopefully it will be a win-win. The other issues brought up about animals and about meat production, things like that, I don't know if anybody knows a real answer to that until the numbers come in, until data centers have been around there. But they're going to be here with AI. The president said he wants to be the leader in AI, and you can't do that without data centers. Oh, yes. Let me talk about fire. Rowan contacted our volunteer fire department and said, we would like to give you $250,000 in 3 checks, a check a year for 3 years, to use it for hiring, for training, and for equipment. And all they asked is to see the receipts that we spend the money on, because they want us to be able to be prepared for any emergency that may come up. So they're willing to work with us. Is that what you? Yes, we already got the first check. The volunteer fire department got the first check. So those are just some things that we've experienced. That's how the Rowan with Project Cinco is working with us. I think that's all I have right now.
Thank you, David. So real quick, we're in closing this evening. Any of the commissioners, anybody want to have to say? Anybody?
Again, it's Mark Gillespie, Precinct 1. First off, thank you all for being here. That shows your concerns and your love for the county, and that means a lot to all of us up here as well. I know, especially from me, I can speak on my behalf only, as always. And as I said earlier, I am against them. I don't want them, but y'all need to realize that whatever we are handed is what we're handed. And I know that if my hands were tied behind my back and I was forced to lay on that ground, believe me, I'm going to kick and squirm. I'm going to do what I can to get out of that from being tied up and not being able to do nothing. But at the end of the day, we all need to realize, and I think we're at that point, we realize there's only so much we can do. Now, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep fighting the fight. I don't really care to have them here. I don't benefit myself in any form or fashion to have them here. But again, thank you for being here and giving your concerns. There was a petition that was signed that had a whole lot of names on it. And I want to thank those for putting your name on that. That means a lot. It shows your accountability, and it holds us accountable. I like being held accountable for my job. I work for you guys. I'm not a fake. I want to be here for the long term, and I want to do what I can do to make this county bright through my eyes. And I hope y'all can trust on me to keep me in this seat for that reason. Thank you.
Mr. Bowen?
Yeah, Mark Bowen, Atascosa County Precinct 2. I think, reiterate what Mark said. I'm just glad y'all are all here and that we had all the questions that came in, because it's a concern with everybody of all the things that are going on. We're all learning. It's a learning curve, as we heard. The challenges that we have. I heard several of the people comment, we know they may be coming. As you've heard, there's not one in the county that I know of right now. I know Medina County is pretty heavy in them right now. So I know we talked to those guys and some of the things that they've got going on. But we're here to serve you, and we've heard y'all's voices tonight and the things that you are concerned about, and we're concerned about them. And we'll continue to review and look at that and do the best we can. Thank you.
Joe Eustace, Precinct 4. I was appointed first of the year, and it's a short term, so I'm not running for votes. But my biggest concern is water. And when Weldon and I went to Rockdale, and I'm going to make this short because we've held you guys over, but there was 3 buildings there, about 1 million square feet. And you could see the evolution. They started with evaporative walls, looked like they used a lot of water. Then the next building was these machines were immersed in water, and the third one was immersed in an oil, a real light oil, almost like brake fluid. And I thought, well, because water is a huge issue with me, and I am totally against them. If this is a big water usage deal, I'm not in favor. But if there's a process that they use oil, then maybe I can be converted. But that's all I said. I've gone from being really, really against them to being neutral until I get more information. I think we all need to try to get as much information, and all I want's the truth. That's all I've ever wanted is the truth. So if it's big water usage like they have been when they first started, I'm out. But if they can come up with something that another fluid, maybe like oil, okay, I might be considering that. And in all honesty, I don't want one next to my house. So that's the selfish part. I'm just spilling my guts for you. So thanks for coming.
Commissioner?
George Pavilic, Precinct 3. I look forward to talking to every one of y'all, or just give me a call and we get more information. Y'all have any questions, let us know. But I'm same with everybody else. Let's all get together on this, and then we'll decide which way to go, in what direction to go. Thank y'all.
Okay, real quick, some housekeeping things. I'm going to tell you right now, if something comes up and we know about it, we'll let you know if we can. There's certain things. People make deals all the time. Somebody buys a piece of property, we don't know to change hands in the title company sometimes, or even recorded in the clerk's office. There's things that we can't stop if it does. I will tell you this, am I in favor of a data center? If it's done right, I don't have a problem with it, if it's done right. Now, I know water as well as anybody, and I think Ms. Teague will tell you the same thing, that I've looked at water and I've drilled water wells, and I understand the hydration of it. And I want to take Dr. Trail here for what he was talking about, because the Hargis report is a phenomenal report. That geological report was done 15 years ago, and it's a great report if you want to study it. The other thing is, this is a public information meeting. We wanted to show you the impact of what the county's had to go through for the last 50 years, from San Miguel to turf farms to frac jobs. All this stuff has come about in the last 50 years that we use. You've seen the water usage, you've seen the values go up and down, and you've seen the tax revenues. The employment situation that's going on, 300 jobs are going to go away in the next year and a half. So we need to try to replace those jobs. It's just something we have to do. Our county's growing. There's no doubt about it. Sheriff wants more money. We've got to look up what he has to have. If he needs stuff, we've got to do his job right. We've got the best sheriff's department in the state of Texas, as far as I'm concerned. We have a lot of things that are going forward, and we need to pay attention. It's not just data centers. There's other things. We meet with saltwater disposal people. Our doors get worn out. Every one of these people get talked to every week about some kind of industry or some kind of meeting with some kind of business. Don't think they don't. So you're welcome to come to our Commissioners Court meetings the second and fourth Monday of each month at 9 a.m. Our State of the County will be October the 20th at 5:30 p.m. That's a great deal. It's because we're celebrating 250 years of Texas. 250 years of the United States, 190 years of Texas, and 170 years of Atascosa County. And I also want to thank this panel. This panel is a good group of resource people. Thank you very much, each one of y'all, for making the trip over here. I know some of y'all had to travel good ways, but some of y'all live here, but thank you very much. You're very informative. At this time, it is 8:50, and we're adjourned.